Military Broadcast Radio, the station that's giving veterans a voice.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Think of all that time. Every wait in the winter. All that time. No one else saw. Every sprint in the summer. Every sacrifice. Early mornings on the levee. Late nights in the film room. Bus rides to playoff games. Every bump in the road. Every moment of ecstasy. Every moment of doubt. Years wondering, is it all worth it? It's all led to this. Man, I got this. It's a 60-minute drive for a 60-minute game. After all the miles we've traveled, we're almost there. After all the hours we've worked, one more can make us legends. After all that time, this is our time. Caveman on the line. HG got the stats.
No filters, no suits, just facts on blast.
He seems like no nonsense guy. Like
re-emphasize that for the Saints fans out there on TikTok. Caveman. What did you just say?
The rebuild starts right now.
Marshawn
Lattimore's gone, so the defense, like, we're not getting any better.
To the left, got the edge and grind. We break it all
Get into
down
Smith.
like
What a pass! That's it! Danielle Smith with the game winner! Oh my goodness!
And that is why you have Aaron Fry pass the ball in.
We roar from the base to the backfield floor. No filters, no fake control. We
It's a real year. Like you have you have the best quarterback in the league, arguably, the best wide receiver in the league, and you've got the best edge rusher in terms of total sacks in the season. You're 4-7, and your playoff chances are hanging on by it.
HG on deck, stats loaded in primes. Reading the field.
Let's make it interesting.
We're making it interesting. Come on. Give us the freaking one.
Breaking down ball like a heat wave blade.
Oh, let's go! Oh, no. For the business! It's not for the business.
We see through the hype. Call out the feed.
So don't you go saying that you're never going to see that. You're such a hater.
The station where our veterans' voices are heard, MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome, Quack.
Program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
For your
You are looking live at Till the Final Whistle, everybody. Caveman and HG back in the house for another episode of the Football Frenzy. This week is a little bit special because we got ourselves a Broncos insider interview joining us. Behind the scenes reporter for the Denver Broncos, Rachel Vigil, is going to be on with us at 11 a.m. today for a quick little interview, about 30, 45 minutes, but we are both very excited for that one.
Very
Gonna get
stoked.
hopefully some good insider information. We got some good questions lined up for her. She won't give us not too much information, but as much as she can.
Maybe figure out what's going on with all these penalties and everything.
Oh yeah.
Well, we're gonna save talking for the game for when she joins in. So make sure you stick around for that. We'll get a breakdown on that matchup between the Broncos and the Chargers
That's right.
later on today. But we're gonna start the show like we did last week and dive into some college football because it was a big weekend. Some pretty huge matchups.
Nice
couple of
matchups, man.
Yeah, a couple of really big ranked matchups. Some teams going down, and I mean some ranked teams going down to unranked teams in a big way. People falling out of the top 25. So yeah, we're gonna
I think
have to just get into it.
I think first one, I think we just got to open it up with this Auburn and Oklahoma game. Because this is something like we really didn't think Oklahoma was going to be ready for this season. Last year, they just looked awful, man. And Mateer has kind of been the answer. Jackson Arnold wasn't really like the fit in that offense, I feel like. But they kind of figured it out. Man, they look like a real dangerous team right now at 11.
They do that. I mean, I'll say that defensive front. I mean, that is the type of defensive line you want to have in the SEC. 10 sacks in that game. That is a school record for Oklahoma. And it wasn't like Arnold played bad or anything. He just, under siege.
He just took 10 sacks, man. What else are you gonna do? He didn't turn the ball over at all. It's just tough.
In a game that was decided by a touchdown, and the SEC admitting that there was a missed call on that trick play touchdown, the guy pretending to sub out didn't come off the field. And I mean, it should have been flagged for an illegal substitution. Didn't, an intentionally deceptive thing there that wasn't, cleared by protocol. Got missed though. And, who's to say Oklahoma wouldn't have won without that touchdown? They were, pretty in control for a lot of this game, even when Auburn was keeping the score close. You just kind of felt like Oklahoma was going to put them away.
Yeah, like Auburn's defense got a few stops that they really needed to keep the score close, keep it one-score game. But it was just Oklahoma's defensive line, dude. That they really got an SEC defensive line now. Was a huge upgrade from last year. I feel like they had dudes in clean pockets just passing all over the field on them. And this transfer portal,
it was coming from all over. I mean, the linebackers were getting in on the blitzes. I mean, the D tackles, the ends, everybody was really getting in on the sack action. And it also came down to the coverage downfield just was fantastic because there was a lot of times where just nowhere to go. Auburn's not able to get that ball out quickly, and all of a sudden that pocket's breaking down, and Arnold is just getting swarmed by multiple defenders. I will say, one thing that makes me nervous about Oklahoma is that they don't really seem to have a run game if Mateer isn't getting a lot of yards
in it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in this one, he was their leading rusher on 10 carries for 29
yards.
Torrey Blaylock, 11 carries for 13 yards, and then everybody else that touched the football either gained nothing or lost yardage. So only 32 rushing yards as a team. That makes me pretty nervous about Oklahoma's ability to be a playoff team and a contender there with those top dog SEC big boys, because I think
that's a big deciding factor in a lot of games.
Being able to just having a running game that doesn't you don't have to be rushing for 150 yards every game, but I want to be able to see, in a short yardage situation, you can confidently just hand the ball off to a back and they're going to go get you 3-4 yards, and to have a guy that can, do that, you can confidently go to do that in situations. And I don't think they have that right now.
It's like it's a big majority of a lot of run plays where the goal is not for it to be a big explosive play. And you do just want 3 to 5 yards from it. And you just want your running back to hit the hole as hard as possible and just get 3 to 5 yards. Doesn't matter. Just the offensive line will create the gap and you just got to take off and do it. Like,
So
it's just bang, bang plays like that. It's going to help them control the clock in these games too. Help them maintain their lead more. They won't have to lean on their defense as much if they can run the ball. But they got some time to figure it out, and they for sure just look dangerous defensively, man. They will.
Like, they've got everything else to really be like a competitive team, to be a scary team in the SEC, because that defense was sick. You know, Auburn has a pretty big offensive line. Was one of the areas that they were feeling confident about coming in there in the next season, and then they just dominated them in all facets. So they got Kent State next. Then they got Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, Alabama.
Ooh, that Ole Miss game is going to be
Missouri
game.
LSU is how their season ends out. So I mean, that's a really tough schedule too down the stretch. Couple of big road games in Tennessee, in Alabama, down in Huntsville, South Carolina. You got to go to South Carolina. Going to be some tough matchups. Rivalry game against Texas. You are hosting that. Maybe they get some confidence in that running game going against Kent State.
That
would be big there. But just looking at this stretch of games too, they didn't get a favorable schedule this year. So, I mean, I think you're really looking, I mean, it'll be tough to come out of this. Like, you know, if you can come out with 7-8 wins out of that, that would be pretty impressive, but that's going to be really hard.
Yeah, they got to go through a gauntlet.
Yeah.
We're going to see the depth of their roster.
Which I think is, maybe that's, you know what, it's going to be a challenge for them. But I think that's good because they can return a lot of this talent. And yeah, you might not be super successful this season, but a lot of that, these guys can get that experience, and you can see what you struggled with against the other top tier competition in the SEC and potentially build around that. So Oklahoma right now, after what was a pretty rough start to their SEC tenure, it's in just year 2 is already looking like they're going in the right direction. And so I've got a lot of high hopes for them, certainly as a team in the future. And I really think we'll see, like, not next year, the year after, Mateer be primed to be one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC with an even more vamped up roster.
Oh yeah,
around them. And on here for Auburn, unclear on what the rest of their schedule is. Let me just pull that up. But it is going to be definitely big early SEC.
They're going to Texas A&M.
Yeah, to Texas A&M
on Saturday. So
Georgia, Missouri.
Those next 3 weeks, I mean, that's just awful right there. And then you go and play in Arkansas.
Got Vandy.
So, I mean, that's
Alabama to end the year.
Oh, man.
This was a team I was excited for. Certainly see with how they kind of got manhandled on the line. That makes me real, like Georgia and Texas A&M especially. Like those, it could be another rough couple weeks for Arnold. So another team that certainly going into the season, there was a lot of hype, a lot of buzz around them. And you thought, like, if they were really going to have a legitimate outside shot of actually making a run at the title or at the playoff, I think getting a win against Oklahoma would be huge here. So, or at least looking a little more impressive in the trenches.
Yeah.
Even though it was a close loss, just more, more consistent on offense. I think they will probably struggle to find some wins against those top end SEC competition, unfortunately.
Because now it's going to get tough for Auburn. They're going against just a serious like dual threat weapon. Marcel Reed is probably just going to do some pretty
Right.
bad things to
And
the Auburn defense.
I like Le'Veon Moss, the running back there for Texas A&M. I've
That's
got
going to be a field day for
supreme
these two guys.
confidence in him to shoulder the load there. And I like breakout game for Isaiah Satenga the third for Oklahoma. I just Casey Concepcion and his running mate on the other side of the field. I'm apologize, A&M fans, I'm blanking on his name, but those two guys, man, they're going to cause some problems, I think, for this Auburn secondary, because Santanaga, really good looking player for sure. But those two wide receivers that they got over there in Texas A&M, I think are
It's going to be rough.
A whole lot better than even those guys.
Yeah, that's just a 2 ranking difference on the top 25 poll between Oklahoma and Texas A&M. There's like a clear gap in like their skill positions, and just the offense of those two teams is far better in Texas A&M.
All right. Now, before we go into some of these other top 25 matchups, I did want to just highlight some of the top ranked schools that were kind of just beaten up on bad competition and just see where we think they're at in the season. I want to start with Oregon, because Oregon, I feel like, hasn't been really challenged yet. I mean, you look Montana State, Oklahoma State, which, what a fall from grace there. It's Mike Gundy coaching down there still, right?
Oklahoma State.
I mean, not for much longer. That's got to be coming to an end there.
Not Mike Gundy's at Oklahoma State, not Oregon State.
That's what I was saying. He was at Oklahoma State. Yeah.
It's probably coming to an end. Ollie Gordon kind of carry.
Yeah, Oregon destroyed them in week 2. They got a win over Northwestern. So, I mean, Montana State, the Division II or FCS school, blow them out. But then you get, the Big 12 school in Oklahoma State, just smoke them. Big 10 opponent, Northwestern, albeit like the kind of bottom feeder of the Big 10, but a very convincing win over them. Your rival, Oregon State. Rivalry games can always be tricky, even if Oregon State has been struggling just with the Pac-12 departure. Big win over them, but I mean, it's this weekend.
They really
I think we're going to see, is this team a serious, threat to go back to the college football playoff? Penn State and then Indiana after that.
You're going to Penn State.
And that's the whiteout game. So that's going to be a game. And then looking at some of the guys I got on the season, I think Dante Moore's been very impressive. It hasn't been super steep competition, but you look at, pretty good completion percentage, 75% on the year, almost thrown for 1,000 yards. He's at 962, 11 touchdowns to 1 pick. Doing a little bit with his legs too. He doesn't look to run a ton. Only 14 carries on the year, and more of it, he's more so of a scrambler. But they got a good trio of running backs, really, with Lemar, Hill, and Whittington.
Noah Whittington.
Yeah.
And this Hill Jr. guy been mixing in there too.
And for me, I would say it's tough to see who the number one or the go-to guy is. I'm leaning maybe just a little bit more towards Malachi Benson over Dokari Moore. Their numbers are both very similar. Benson got that good, speed. The senior, he's 6'1", 195. Sadiq Bey has certainly been a nice safety blanket. So I don't even think they'll necessarily win in Penn State. But what I'm looking for, I want to see, like, Penn State to get this win, they got to pull out all the stops. I want them to really push Penn State to the edge. That's a super good Penn State team, and they're going on the road to maybe one of the most difficult environments of college football to play in. So it's going to be a struggle for sure. But I think to really prove, like, all right, we're still, a top dog in the Big Ten, and that this talent that we've brought back in to replace is legit, and we're a legit threat to still go back to the playoff. I really want to see him push Penn State to the limit.
Jimmy says Ohio State by 30.
Who's Ohio State got this week?
Also, happy birthday, Jimmy. Shout out Jimmy.
Hey, happy birthday, Mr. Covers.
That's what I was just about to say. This game might come down to James Franklin having to coach in a big game, and the fact that he is bald. That's literally what I was going to say.
Oh, got them there. Right. I wouldn't put it past James Franklin to drop this game because it's a huge top 10 matchup. I just it's the whiteout game, bro. In the, he's got that home field advantage. Like, it's
everything in his favor here.
I get this one of the bigger opponents, but this Penn State team is really, really sick. Like, they shouldn't be losing this.
They're 3.5-point favorites right now. Point total of 52.5. Oh, man.
The LSU team just they got 56-10 win over Southeast Louisiana. Everything was humming along there. Very deserving of that number 3 spot. Actually, let me get the newest rankings up because I do believe that
the newest ranking I think has Penn State at 3.
At 3, and they moved LSU up to 2.
They lose. It's because he's bald.
I mean, it might be. Actually, where LSU's pop-up ads? Are you serious? Get off my screen. LSU, we got them at 4 in the AP poll, and Miami is up at 2. Then
Miami makes sense.
The coaches poll Penn State's at 2.
Okay. Man, LSU kind of getting that's kind of messed up. They only have them at 4 right now. They got wins over Clemson and Florida. I mean, I guess Clemson not as good as everyone expected, and neither is Florida, but that's both. Miami, they got a conference win already.
Yeah. Miami's got the Florida and Notre Dame wins too, so I could see that that would make sense too. I mean, they've got 2 big wins going for them early here in the season. All right, dude, this is just ridiculous on this ranking page. There's an ad popping up.
Come on, ESPN.
Every 2 seconds. But back to some of our other college teams that just had some easy matchups this week. I'm just keeping it in the top 10, really. The 2 other teams, Texas and Florida State. We'll start with Texas. Finally, a convincing win over a bad team, albeit but that not nearly as convincing against UTEP
what
San
happened
Jose
against
State.
UTEP? What happened in those first 3 games? I'm still really scared.
A little bit better about Arch, the 18-21, 309, and 3 touchdowns. Do you think this is a good confidence building game?
Definitely.
Also, 2 more on the ground.
Yeah, this one will be great for his confidence. I honestly feel like last week's prediction that you kind of said where he might stay another year if he has the eligibility, because this guy's super young. Instantly just got thrown into the reins. Had never really started too many games, and then is in this Texas team that had a lot of guys go in the draft, a lot of new people come in the transfer portal. I mean, this is a really young guy still. I honestly feel like that this is just going to be – I feel like I want to predict it now. Archie Manning is probably not going to have the greatest year this year when they get into FTC play. And it's going to he's just going to have another year to develop. This is great. They got a good coach there. I think he's got another year. It's just weird to see that it's a Manning coming out there and not looking like just crazy.
He had a lot of
insanely
hype
good.
around him, but like, let's be honest, like he hasn't had a ton of on-field experience
Yeah.
in college, and I think like we just expected him to be fantastic right away. It's not going to happen.
I think he's probably going to have.
I'm looking at
mediocre.
the Texas schedule here. Florida's got a phenomenal defense, which will probably give them problems. That game's in the Swamp. It looks like actually that Oklahoma game is going to be at a neutral site because it says that's a home game for them as well.
That is the Red River rivalry, so that one is going to be.
Oh, that's right. I forget that one is at a neutral site. That's not each team doesn't host that. Then you got to go to Kentucky and Mississippi State, which are teams they should be able to beat. Mississippi State got a big upset over Arizona State in their home stadium. Kentucky could be that's a tough building to go into. We've seen some top SEC schools like barely come out of there.
It's tough.
Vandy's looking pretty good this year.
You don't play around with Vanderbilt this season.
18 ranked in the country. I mean, I like what they got, like Diego Pavia and what that whole crew's doing down there.
They got Theo Vaughn with them.
Yeah,
now
it's a lot of fun to watch. Then they got, Georgia and A&M in Georgia, home for A&M. So it'll be right. Just a lot of losable games or games where things might not look pretty to get the win. I think it's just really like Arch. I'm going to check, but I think he's a junior. I'm going to just verify this, but if he's a junior, stay the sophomore, actually. He's a sophomore.
Dude, stay as long as you like, brother. The Saints are going to
game.
stink for a while, dude. Get as good as you freaking want, kid. Come on.
And I think just as this season's gone on, I think the quarterback rankings in the draft class have certainly shifted.
Yeah.
And he's not the number one.
He's definitely not.
From what I'm hearing, Norris Sellers has jumped out as the front runner.
If he could stay healthy, man. He could freaking plays 2 games
Carson
a year.
Beck has been fantastic these early few weeks of the season. Garrett Nussmeier also is looking super.
I think Beck might jump back up this year too, man. Yeah. Miami just looks crazy.
Going to shoot back up there. Haynes King, guy that's kind of on the rise there. Pavia is playing really well. I don't know what his eligibility is, but he certainly could be in the conversation there. Jordan Mayava down there at USC. I could see him being a guy that's in this class. And another guy, Tommy Castellanos, man, played those seasons.
That's so true.
Boston College.
He's actually balling.
He's a senior year, man. He's balling out. Only 3 passing touchdowns and 594 yards, but it's the rushing stats on the season that have been kind of crazy too. And then it's just this whole team, Florida State team in general, as we kind of come over to our last top 10 team that was beaten up on Kent State this week, 66-10. You look at the past 2 games here. Even against Alabama, 31 points. East Texas A&M 77 and 66 here against Kent State.
My God,
this is a dynamic offense, man. They just beat you in so many ways.
Dude, look how many people carried the ball against Kent State.
Right, that's where they are just so creative.
They're just
with the run game.
We'll give it to Danzy for 1 carry, and he breaks it off for a 64-yard touchdown. Cam Davis, randomly 4 carries, 30 yards and a touchdown.
They were just getting everybody involved. 500 yards on the ground.
Everybody averaged more than 5 yards a carry except for Jalen King and Kevin Sperry. And they only had 1 and 2 carries. My God.
It's
54 carries for 498 yards. That is like Madden.
Right. I love some of these receivers they got here. Mekhi Danzy, Cam Davis, LaWayne McCoy. Just a lot of exciting athletes
Way to just rebuild your entire roster off the radar. Like they had the worst year ever after getting snubbed out of the playoffs, and then
Now this year, that's Clemson this year.
yeah, this year it's Clemson.
That's that high expectations, very low hopes team. So yeah, Florida State Seminoles are looking absolutely deadly.
If
Team to
there's
keep an
any
eye on.
team though, if there's any team that Beck and Miami has to watch out for, it's going to be Florida State.
Yeah.
I don't think they play each other, but just
They do. They
do.
2 weeks from now.
Okay, yeah, that's going to be like that's probably going to decide that conference right there.
Oh, I absolutely agree with you. We'll see. I mean, I don't sleep on Georgia Tech to make a run at it. I'll say that.
They're right in there, dude.
They'll sleep on Georgia Tech. Yeah, I mean, we're
They
really
can
just
beat the
highlighting.
big dogs too, man. They can go into your place and whoop you.
I will say, Florida State, they definitely got some dogs defensively, but I don't think they're as sound of a unit there. They're a team that can. I mean, they'll keep up with you in a track meet, but if their offense gets stifled, I mean, you might find yourself in a favorable position, and it might look ugly in the loss column for them. But we have reached the half hour. We're going to go ahead and head on our first really quick break. But when we come back, we're going to have another top 25 matchup to break down between Texas Tech and Utah, plus a huge Big Ten matchup that did not go the way a lot of people were expecting. All that more is still to come here until the final whistle, presented by Military Broadcast Radio.
Complicates and shakes you, consumes all that makes you deep inside your bones. In a moment, choose the things you want and remember who you are and who you want to be. An anonymous dream came calling deep inside your soul. Let it came with love and splendor, everything you owned.
DIOU. Delay of game. 5 seconds before the show. But hey, thanks for watching.
No filters, no show. Facts on blast.
Till the final whistle. There we go. Sorry. You're back. And now we got our final top 25 matchup of week 4. We get into Utah, Texas Tech. Turned out to be a game, man. Which, I mean, pretty expected. 16, 17 team. And in the fourth quarter, Texas Tech turned it on with 24 points.
Right. Like, nobody could really gain an edge all game. And then all of a sudden, something just clicked with Texas Tech, and their offense could just do absolutely no wrong. And on the flip side, Utah's defense looked helpless out there. Their offense looked completely at the mercy of Texas Tech. 2 late interceptions by Devin Dampier. And I mean, if you're a Utes fan, flashbacks to last year where it was like this offense that was super dysfunctional and didn't look good.
Yeah.
It looked like it was getting better this year. But I mean, you faced your first real big competition in the Red Raiders.
Dropped 3 points in the first half. And it looks close then, you know, 10-3 first half. And then it's 24 points in the fourth quarter. You can't get a stop on defense late. But that's mainly because of how many times they got to punt the ball, how many 3 and outs and just dead drives that happen for Utah in this game. It's like your defense is on the field way too much.
Right. I mean, for how close they had it for a while, it's no surprise that Texas eventually just ran away with it late. I mean, they outgained them 484 to 263. Utah was 4 for 14 on third downs.
Oh my gosh.
They had 4 turnovers. Really the only thing
Yeah, 2 fumbles, 2 picks.
that was keeping them in it was Texas had 14 penalties for 122.
Oh my God.
That was just about it. And that was stopping Texas from getting going, was that they were just hurting themselves with penalties, dumb mistakes like that. They had a couple of interceptions themselves. But Texas was really beating themselves, honestly. Or Texas beating themselves a lot more than Utah was even necessarily stopping them.
Yeah, it just took until the fourth quarter for Texas Tech to lock it in. This game could have been like 66-10 if it went any differently.
Right.
If there's no
Texas
penalties.
Was more disciplined and less sloppy the first 3 quarters. Easily could have been a way different game.
This one could have been ugly. So they just kept giving it up.
Yeah.
4 turnovers.
Big early season win for the Red Raiders here.
This could honestly be the team outside of Iowa State, and watch out for Arizona State, but they could lock up the conference here. The rest of their schedule, they got a really tough one in Arizona State in 2 weeks, but going to playing a home game against Kansas might warm you up pretty nicely for that game. And Arizona State proven they can be beaten this year against Mississippi State. So that might be like game of the year in Big 12.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the Big 12 standings, and TCU maybe seen some impressive things from them. I wouldn't entirely rule out Kansas. I like the young QB they got there in Jalen Daniels. The Cougars, they've got a solid team there in Houston. I mean, the real 2 teams that I feel are serious are Iowa State and Texas Tech. I love Kenny Dillingham, and so I think Arizona State's probably third for me in terms of those. And then those other 3 teams that I mentioned, I give an outside chance. Right now, I mean, it's it's Iowa State, it's Texas Tech's conference to lose. I mean, really, it comes down to just how they execute and
because
play.
after Arizona State, Texas Tech has home game against Oklahoma State. I'm sorry, Mohawk, but Kansas State's defense and missing their All-American running back, like you said, is just it's gonna hurt their season extremely bad. But that game, even though it's in Kansas State, that's probably a pretty favorable matchup still for Texas Tech. And then it's BYU, UCF, and West Virginia. I mean, easily they can get into conference championship this year. And they looked pretty good last year too, and they kind of just let it slip. They lost a bunch of games late, and they just couldn't really climb back in the
kind
rankings.
of blew some games.
Yeah,
and really just hurt their own chances. Now on the flip side, Iowa State rather, Arizona, pretty beatable team there. Cincinnati,
beatable but sneaky. They haven't really played that great a competition yet, but Arizona could be sneaky.
That's true. What is up with you in Arizona, Kevin?
I gotta stop. I gotta stop because every time I root for them, they always lose.
Yeah, I mean, you're always high on them in college hoops. You're always big on them with the
getting upsets in college football.
I know,
man.
You got a soft spot for Arizona. I
do.
know what it is.
I do.
But 2 road games in Cincinnati, in Colorado. I mean, Busts are probably going to get clapped there.
Oh, man.
Cincinnati shouldn't be a problem. BYU did just creep into the top 25.
Yep.
But I don't think they'll be there for long, and I don't think this is nearly the same BYU team we saw last year. Losing Jake Reslov has been pretty detrimental to that offense. Arizona State, home game, but that's certainly a tough one coming up for them. TCU, probably the next toughest game they got. Then Kansas and Oklahoma State. That's basically a Division II school at this point. Who knows? Like at that point, I assume Mike Gundy will be fired, and a lot of players will be on the next season, hitting the transfer portal, getting out of there, and whatnot. So,
I'm sure a lot of guys hit the portal like today. They're probably gonna...
It's really lined up for Texas Tech and Iowa State to meet there because they don't have a whole lot of real competition. So we'll be when concerning the Big 12, we'll be monitoring those 2 teams probably the closest. Things are just looking set, real set up for them. Now, on the flip side, we're going to go over to the Big Ten here for a little bit because we have a big time matchup between Indiana and Illinois. And oh my goodness, Indiana might be better than they were last year.
Yeah, seriously.
And Illinois, massive fraud watch. Holy.
What the heck happened?
I'm at a loss for words. I mean, Fernando Mendoza looks better in that system than Curtis Rourke did last year. Carved him up. Only 2 incompletions in this. 267, 5 touchdowns.
Crap.
I mean, and it was on both sides of the ball. They just did what they wanted at the line of scrimmage. I mean, they ran for 312 yards. They got whatever they wanted.
They blocked a punt and scooped and scored it.
Special teams looked great. They had how many sacks on them? 7 sacks, 10 TFLs. They just dominated Iowa or Illinois in every facet. I can't think of a single thing in this game that I saw out of Illinois. I mean, they looked completely out of their depth against Indiana. So, yeah, I mean, pretty if you can get exposed this badly by Indiana, will Illinois still probably make a bowl game? Yeah, I could see it. But I mean, imagine like Ohio State could do some crazy things to them. USC, who's looking really good.
They play them next week.
Yeah. Luckily, besides that, they don't have a lot of steep competition outside of say maybe Washington. The East Coast, the Rutgers, the Marylands could could be a little sneaky there, but
Maryland's not bad.
yeah.
They could be one team in this Big Ten that.
So I
shakes
mean,
it
at
up
least
a
if you're
bit.
the Illini, I mean, you're looking at probably only dropping 2 more games, maybe 3. It'd still be like a 9-win team, but the others, I mean, a thumping like this, and if you go down to another 2 unranked teams, yeah, I mean, playoff is now definitely out of the question. I can't believe they're still ranked.
I know.
I
They're
think
still in the top 10, I think.
they're not still in the top 10. But they are still in the top 25. They dropped. They're 23, which no, I mean you're out. You got absolutely exposed, and you like
That's
after
rough.
what I saw. I mean, yeah, there's no way. There's a number of teams that I'm like, there's no way they're better than them. I mean, like Syracuse is a team that's on the hill. Like I think Syracuse could beat this team. You have like Arizona State is still a better team than this team. There's a couple of SEC schools also. That aren't ranked necessarily that you would put in here. I mean, like Arkansas is a way better team than this team. Heck yeah, I mean even South Carolina with their 2-2 record, you're like that's a better team. So I mean, no way that they should be in here. Iowa, like 3-1, that's a better team in their own conference.
That's true.
Than them. I take Michigan State over from what I've seen from those 2 teams this year. Like
honestly, even Maryland. Maryland's even got the conference win too. They're 4-0.
Yeah. So absolutely no reason.
I'm just a Malik Washington fan, dude. That guy, he's just got to work on his accuracy. But Malik Washington's ranked one of the best quarterbacks in college football right now. You watch out for that guy.
Who did Maryland play this week? I don't believe I got a chance to catch their game.
They had, let's see. I just had them up on the screen. I could have clicked on there.
Oh, they had Wisconsin. That's right. Yeah, I mean a convincing win over Wisconsin too, 27-10. Yeah, like I see the accuracy issue you're talking about with Washington, with 2 touchdowns.
He's at like 50% this year, but 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, and a pick. I mean, you get up to like 65, 70%. This guy's insane. That dude. There's literally accuracy is like his only issue. He's pretty mobile too, and he's pretty solid. It's just also being on Maryland.
Yeah. And tough conference that they gotta play.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
But their schedule this year, I mean, they got Washington, Nebraska could be tough, but Raiola, I don't know. Nebraska's sorry. They haven't beaten a ranked team in like 10 years. I don't trust them against Maryland in this one. At UCLA.
Gave Michigan
lollipop.
a scare.
They got Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan. Like probably Indiana might bust them up. But they come out of that game battered and bruised to play Rutgers in Illinois. They're probably going to have a good season, Maryland.
Do want to quickly touch on this Michigan game. They do survive against the Cornhuskers. Like Raiola he's a good quarterback. I mean, he puts up good numbers. I don't think he gets a whole lot of
it's just Nebraska in
the run game, and their offensive line, despite the bad pass protection, because he got sacked 7 times in this game. Despite bad pass protection, he still does put up good numbers. But yeah,
he can't do it all himself.
Nebraska is like in this huge rut.
I got to look up how long it's been.
The Matt Rule experiment isn't working. Michigan really bailed out by Justice Haynes in the defense here. A 149 and a touch on the ground for Haynes. Jordan Marshall, Underwood contributing with their legs a little bit as well. Well, but 290 on the ground. How are we feeling on Bryce Underwood? True freshman. I mean, do we think Michigan's there yet to at least have their hat in the ring for for the Big Ten, or are they not quite back yet?
I just looking at the other, like Penn State and Ohio State being there. USC looks like they could give them some trouble. I think they need like at least a year.
Right.
I like Underwood a lot. He
I do
brings out a
too.
dual threat ability that like this can
Again,
really
he's just not like refined enough as a
yeah.
passer, you know.
They can make their offense really. They could go like Michigan in the 20th century and just be like have a mobile quarterback and still be like smash mouth football. They could really like still play their style but do it with their quarterback. And honestly, I like the kid. He's got good size, but being more refined as a passer, 105 passing yards in a win. And that's kind of got to make sense why it's a 3-point game.
Yeah. Another unranked team that had an unranked matchup. Notre Dame, 56 points, but they did give up 30 to Purdue. Are we feeling that was more just letting their foot off the gas defensively and not something to be concerned about as this Notre Dame defense? And I mean, got their first win on the season. I'm not entirely ready to write them out of the playoff just yet. Really their only big challenge left is USC. And I mean, they went right down to the wire with two other probable playoff teams. I just don't know how that committee is going to feel.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because I mean, if they beat USC and win out the rest of their season, we'd have to see where some other teams are ranked and everything, obviously. But I just wouldn't hate Notre Dame as a playoff team, as an at-large bid, because I mean that running game with Jamar Love, Jadarian Price is just absolutely sick. Maybe the best tandem of backs in college football. I mean, those two guys. Quick maths here. 5 touchdowns and over 250 yards on the ground between those two guys, and like again, just on 28 touches too. Like they're so explosive.
Okay, here it is. Last time Nebraska beat a ranked team was in 2016 against Oregon. So literally, it's been a decade, and they've lost 28 straight games to ranked opponents.
Wow.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, rip the Cornhuskers. Good for another day to finally get in the win column. That's something we're going to have to just follow throughout the season because, I just don't I think that's still a very dangerous team. And I mean, you had a true freshman really starting at quarterback for him. And he's still, two high quality opponents that they really took down to the wire. I mean, it wasn't like either of those games were like that Notre Dame got blown out. Either of those games, I mean, they were in those. And they really had opportunities to win them. And the other team just had the ball last and in the right situation to really close it out. So
they could really jump back up. I think this year they could probably get 12. If they get in, they're probably going to sneak in at 12.
Which that's a dangerous 12 seed.
That's probably that's one team I don't want to.
They have to win out. I think there's no way for you to even make that argument if they don't win out. But they, like I said, the rest of their schedule they should be able to take care of. Speaking of one of those teams that beat Notre Dame, Miami takes down Florida 26-7, and
Florida's defense is so damn good.
That might be the best defense in the country because they shut down LSU. They gave up,
put up pedestrian numbers, and
the turnovers
lost. What doesn't even make any sense.
It was really just turnovers and mistakes that cost that defense against South Florida that gave South Florida those opportunities and one lone big play. But And then like Beck, who is just carving teams up till this point, looked
17 of 30, a pick.
Really,
Didn't even
man.
throw a touchdown.
I mean, like they gave up. Like Mark Fletcher had 116 on the ground, but he had to grind it out. 24.
Yeah, 24 carries.
Same they just had to grind it out on the ground. 18 for Jamar Brown with 80 yards. That's where the touchdowns came in. But
at this point, just put the defense in on offense. They might be able to play.
Lagway's backup? I'm not even sure, but we just gotta
give him a shot. Yeah.
Says, dude,
what's Billy Napier gonna do, bro?
Get fired, probably. I mean, I'm Mike Gundy, Billy Napier. Those guys at least are gonna probably fire midway through the season. Utah, depending on how their season goes, I can see their head coach being in some hot water. But I mean, we're seeing Florida's defense keep them in games.
Oh, that was my camera.
All right, folks, we're gonna
hit a quick music break.
On the music break,
but again,
come back.
You guys can still see me. Florida's defense is so good, and the rest of their team is awful, man. Maybe it's time. Harrison Bailey, Tramel Jones Jr. It might be time to get him in. Clay Millen, Aiden Warner. They got 5 quarterbacks on this roster.
Right.
Take a chance.
When we get that camera fixed and when we come back, we're going to have a look ahead to a couple of Big Ten and SEC matchups that also went down this week, and the look ahead to Week 5. So don't go anywhere. You're watching Till the Final Whistle on Military Broadcast Radio.
You've got leaving in your eyes as you walk me to the door. Miles between us now and who we were before. I've seen how frail love can be. I know it hurts when it ends suddenly. Feel that pain, choosing to go when you could have stayed. If there's a choke in your throat when you say my name, finding reasons to blow up my phone. If you're lost, thinking about how we take that break, and it feels wrong sleeping alone. Sometimes it is harder giving up than giving another try. Maybe it ain't time to say goodbye. You're getting older, losing those rose-colored glasses, but it's not over. Luster fades as time passes. I've seen how frail we can be. Broken hearts don't just heal suddenly. Some pain never goes away, like choosing to go when you could have stayed. If there's a choke in your throat when you say my name, finding reasons to blow up my phone. If you're lost, thinking about how we take that break, and it feels wrong sleeping alone. Sometimes it is harder giving up than giving another try. Maybe it ain't time to say goodbye. There's a choke in your throat when you say my name, finding reasons to blow up my phone. If you're lost, think about how we take that break, and it feels wrong sleeping alone. Sometimes it is harder giving up than giving another try. Maybe it ain't time. If
delay of game. 5 seconds before the show. But hey, thanks for watching.
You are looking live at Till the Final Whistle. HG Caveman back in the house. Camera's back up. We just got a few more games to cover in our college football weekend that we had. Another big Saturday. We wanted to go to USC, correct? USC, Michigan State was our next matchup.
Start there. USC and Michigan State. Some real good quarterback play in this one. Michigan State with a younger QB, Aiden Childs.
Less
I really
experience,
like,
but a great quarterback.
Again, like one of those just really fun dual threats. I think he has to, work a bit more on his ability to pass from, being a pocket passer. And again, like just being that development of just being patient and sometimes taking the underneath stuff wants to get the big play going. But
I like that mentality though.
Yeah,
I mean,
despite
for some exciting games.
The numbers all 12 of 21, 212, did have 3 touchdowns, also 35 and a touch on the ground as well. Like he's going to be real special here in a couple of years. Like I'm just put you on now, junior quarterback. I feel like he's got one more season in him at like a junior year or senior year where he's just going to go crazy. Maybe watch for him to be a big name in the transfer portal. But another junior QB in this game who has had a bit more experience starting is Jaden Mayava. And he looks just real comfortable and in control of that offense back there.
He's been the answer since he got the start last year.
Right. USC struggling. They go to Mayava last year. And they haven't looked back. So he can do a little with his legs. He did have 2 rushing touchdowns. And I like Wayman Jordan, Elias Sanders, real good duo of backs that the Trojans got down there as well. And Makai Lemon, man, he just looks so sick. Like he's going to be.
When life gives you lemons. When life gives you lemons.
Watch for him to really jump up in the draft stock this year. I mean, in the season, 24 catches, 438 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Just 5'11", 195. He's great route runner. He got great speed, really good hands. I mean, look at this. Like Mayava trusts him a lot. Like he spread the ball around to a lot of different guys, but the guy that's
his guy. Was his
Lemon.
guy. Yeah, he spread it around. That's for sure. Like if there's any team with the guaranteed number 1 wide receiver, it's USC.
Yeah, I was a little surprised that Nick Marsh was he's been a bit quiet since the first few weeks of the season. I mean, only 3 touchdowns on the year, got them in the first 2 weeks of the season. Did have 94 against Youngstown. He was kind of quiet in this game though, but still a really young player. But he's like kind of in that same vein as like Jeremiah Smith. Maybe not as good as Jeremiah Smith, but just the raw talent is there. So it's another player that I really like on this Michigan State team, who do fall to 3-1, grab their first Big Ten loss. But I mean, the Trojans are a team that I would watch out for just to potentially make a run in at large bid.
They're right in this. They're right in this game.
They're
like USC controlled almost 300 rushing yards.
Right.
But like they're right in it, pretty close in the passing game with the 225, 234. They just got to find themselves a good, solid running back to lean on every once in a while. Because that's the big thing that helps Mayava and a lot of these quarterbacks in college, man. And sometimes you got to have a safety blanket.
Right.
You can't just be passing it every play and playing hero ball for the entire game. Like that alone just like kills players' draft stock, and it makes like the eyes of the media look at certain guys differently because
And it just another thing that was interesting that like no sacks given up in this one by the Trojans. Like good offensive line. Really, it's like they just got to be more disciplined. Like the penalties kind of hurt them in this game. Is why the score looks even like a little closer than it was. Because I mean, USC really was they pulled away pretty early, and then they just they weren't quite able to put for you to feel comfortable that they had put Michigan State away until very late in the fourth. And I think penalties were a big reason because of that. Another team that can rush the quarterback real well, run the ball though. So we just take a look at the rest of their schedule coming up here, it is a bit of a gauntlet though. It's a bit of a stretch in the next 3 games. Illinois, who honestly they look way better than Illinois, so they should beat them.
They probably got
is
that
on
one.
the road. They should beat Illinois. Michigan, I mean Bryce, like we'll see, like how Bryce Underwood plays. And I mean, are they going to be able to? That Michigan defensive front's pretty good. Are they like who's going to win that battle of the trenches? But I think like they got a good chance if they can take control of the trenches and really limit Michigan's running game. Like Mayava's definitely the better quarterback, so they should take that one. And then they got Notre Dame coming up after that, where that's one I could see them losing. But then after that, pretty smooth sailing. Nebraska, Northwestern, Iowa, UCLA. Last really tough challenges. They got to go to Oregon.
That's gonna be a tough game.
But I mean, they could easily sneak out of that schedule with like only 2 losses. And if your only 2 losses are against a very good Notre Dame team and a very good Oregon team, you certainly got to be in consideration for an at-large bid. We'll see, see who else is there, where they can end up in the final rankings. But I'm a big fan of this Trojans team. I really want to see how they come out of this gauntlet. It'll be kind of a proving ground for them. But if they come out of that 2-1, yeah, I mean, big high hopes for them. Great coach there, Lincoln Riley too. So
watch out for them. What was our last game that we wanted to touch on?
We have Missouri and South Carolina.
Oh yeah, 29-20 finish here. Sellers went down with the injury in the prior week, and now he's back. I thought he was going to be out in this game.
Yeah, and he got really no help from his run game. It was
-9 yards as a team.
It was all on him.
What the?
And a lot of that was just the sack yardage counting against the rushing yardage, which is I don't like that exactly about college football.
That doesn't make any sense, yeah.
But I mean, like you look at the guys that did carry the football. I mean, you have outside of the Sellers getting sacked or his runs going nowhere. You had Brian Rowe 1 carry, Faison 6 carries, 3 carries for Oscar Adway, 2 for Matt Fuller. That amounted to 7 yards, 5 yards, 0 yards. So take out the sack yardage, you're looking at 19 yards on the ground, 285 out of Missouri. I can see why, like, Sellers, he's got the arm talent. He can sit back there and read the defense really well, throw the ball super accurately. It's not just like the arm strength, but it's the touch, the ability to layer it over the defense, put in some tight windows. Obviously, he's a huge threat with his legs. So, I mean, I can see why he, even despite the 2-2 record for the Gamecocks, he's jumped out as kind of the new favorite for the number 1 guy.
I liked him last year, dude.
A Missouri Tigers team, though, that is a lot better than I think a lot of people are giving them credit for. Bo Pribla, he was kind of just game manager mode in this one, but he can sling the rock. I mean, he had 283 and 334 in their first 2 games of the season, and then they against UNL Monroe and South Carolina, they were more run heavy in those 2 games, but 962 yards and 8 touchdowns on the season. They got a good quarterback. That offensive line, I mean, we've seen it just dominate the past 2 weeks, and it's not like South Carolina's defense is anything to turn your nose up at. They got some good players out there, and they just got their absolute will imposed on them. 5 sacks. I mean, they got some playmakers over here on defense. Josiah Trotter is just a heat-seeking missile to the ball, that linebacker that they got there in the middle. I like Missouri, just a lot like kind of a push down to the bottom just because of how stacked there are a lot of the SEC is, but outside of like A&M, LSU, Georgia, say maybe Bama, I think they might be better than Oklahoma. I think they could be, better. They're probably better than Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Who else am I missing on there? I mean, they might be better than Texas too. They could probably beat Texas. Vanderbilt, yeah, I mean they could. They're probably better than Vanderbilt too. Tennessee. I mean, I can make a compelling argument that they could beat or are better than all those teams. I really like. They just are so solid all over the place. I mean, South Carolina was their first big test. Then they've got Bama in a few weeks here. That'll be and Vanderbilt. And they'll have to play A&M and they'll have to play Oklahoma. So realistically, though, I mean, they'd have to come out of that like with probably only 2 losses, but I could see them doing that. Like, I could see them only losing to Alabama, but like just barely, and losing to Texas A&M. I mean, another team that I'm a big fan of the Missouri Tigers. I thought that the way that they just completely made South Carolina one-dimensional.
Yeah,
the fact that it was only a 9-point game really more so speaks to just how good Lenoris Sellers is. My big drawback with him is that he just tries sometimes too hard to make a play. That's where they got into trouble. And this one is he wouldn't just throw the ball away or just, run out of bounds, go down. He tried to run backwards, lose extra yards, or throw the ball at an awkward angle, and it just wasn't going to get there. But like if this team was a bit better around him, I think South Carolina would definitely would still be ranked. And if he hadn't gotten banged up, Mizzou Tigers could easily might be a top 5 team in the SEC.
They could be one of those teams that really jumps up this year. And another squad that like just kind of really, really quietly got a pretty good roster in this offseason from NIL, and they kind of kept their class under wraps. Not many like highly touted guys on their team really, but just like, pretty good. Some good players all around. It's like in the end of the day, it's not, Jimmy would always say it, it's not X's and O's, it's Jimmy's and Joe's once you actually get out on the field. So they got some guys. They got some guys on that squad.
I guess one last thing to touch on before we go to these next few, look at some matchups next week. Two bid American, like two bids from the American Conference. I don't think that's entirely out of the possibility. North Texas wins it, but I mean, South Florida keeps dominating against these lesser opponents. I mean, we've seen them be able to take down some top-ranked competition. I mean, It's not entirely out of the possibility. We'll see. Like, I mean, because it's just like it's going to kind of be a bloodbath in some of these other conferences, and it's just like there's going to be teams with 4 losses where it's like, I don't, can you justify putting them in with 4 losses? Like maybe some of these 3-loss teams, but they're like, if you've got like a North Texas and South Florida, like teams that just run the gauntlet in the American, especially like I really like North Texas, I think is really, really underrated, man. This Drew Metzmaker, man. Guy's got some talent. Guy's got some gumption. And they they run the ball real well. It's just a good committee there. So probably won't happen, but we can dream.
We can dream. We can dream it.
And there's certainly 2 like very deserving teams out of there for that group of 5 at-large bid. But
the competition compared to last year definitely got up for these playoff spots. I can't lie. We're only 3 weeks into the year, but I think the competition is really showing. That like there's a lot better, just more complete rosters in these conferences now. And it's like you can actually have a legit argument that some of them actually have a shot,
Yes. All right. Looking ahead to next week here, we've got some big matchups coming up here for a number of different teams, some top 25 showdowns to keep an eye on. We're going to get into it starting on Thursday. No top 25 showdowns, but I think Florida got going on the road to a sneaky 3-1 Virginia team. Florida State, rather. So looking to, they got a couple weeks against some Division II schools and a MAC school. So now they're getting into conference play. Let's see how they open that. Go and can they get a statement win? But I think this is the game really that is going to be huge for 2 teams that want to have a shot at the Big Ten title: TCU and Arizona State.
Oh yeah. I
mean, this game, I think it has some massive implications because these are 2 teams that are just going to be right there in the mix. And so whoever could have a head-to-head advantage in this, that would be just absolutely huge. So that's on Thursday night. Now we get over here on Saturday in the morning, USC, Illinois.
There we go. 2
top 25 teams. But I mean, really, I think we're looking at USC. It is on the road, but they should. I mean, was that just a bad week out of Illinois? I think there's just more issues with that team than we're.
Yeah, that's
not even the voters want to admit with them. I think USC is going to probably clobber them pretty well. Maybe not like it to the tune of 63-10, but like 44-20, something like that. That's another pretty big loss.
Yeah. That's going to be a rough game.
One of the tougher games that they do still got on the schedule. Notre Dame's got to go to Arkansas. Just a good, scrappy SEC team. I'll say that.
One to watch out for.
Should be a game that they win. Arkansas did fall to Memphis last week, so they might be looking. Hoping to get a bounce back there. They don't want to fall to 2 and 3. So that could just be a sneaky trap game for Notre Dame. It's Arkansas and USC are the 2 big games that are really going to be the big challenges. Then their schedule kind of eases up after that. Going down to the 1:30 window, massive game here with LSU.
Can they contain?
I think this will be a real prove-it game for Ole Miss that you're hosting LSU. Not even necessarily that you got to get the win, but play them really close. And I mean, ESPN Bet's got them as a 1.5 point favorites. So, I mean, that's kind of interesting that they would even be favored in this. It's kind of seen as a pick 'em here. That game is going to have some. I mean, it's just both teams definitely going to be in the mix. Major implications here. So that one's going to be a thriller, most definitely. It's just like I'm a little surprised that Mississippi's that it's a pick 'em. I think
Yeah.
LSU is the better team. Just yeah, Old Miss is incredibly talented. Like LSU, that roster, top to bottom, is
People aren't trusting the offense of LSU, and
I guess.
I just don't understand it. And they turned it around. Like Garrett Nussmeier looking a lot more refined as a passer. Like last year, I think that was their issue. Most games was quarterback play, and they stuck with the same guy. I mean, it's kind of worked out for him. Like they figured out how to get a good system around him, and they got him some weapons to work with. Like last year, they had kind of like they had really good players last year that got really like a lot of them were getting suspended. They had a lot of guys that were missing games for just like silly penalties, not really like out off the field stuff. They really kind of shot themselves in the foot last season.
Right. Super talented roster. They should be all right. Looking at some other matchups, obviously this is, I think, the biggest game that we've got is that Oregon Penn State game. We'll just talk about that a little more.
Oh yeah, that's or Alabama Georgia could be a
Oregon,
game.
your real first test of the year. You're going to Happy Valley Beaver Stadium, man. The whiteout, Dante Moore, man. Like time to see what you're made of. Keep in mind that only a sophomore quarterback. Very tough environment to go into, even if you are an experienced QB. And a Penn State team that, like, Oregon likes to be explosive and get a lot of opportunities. So this is a Penn State team that can really play a ball control type of offense. Can the Oregon offense stay hot? They're going long periods of being off the field. Can their defense force some turnovers? This is going to be a thriller. I think I could see it going either way. I think Penn State should win this game, but Oregon, it's got to come down to like a last second type of thing, you know. And then not to downplay it, because this is always one of the games of the year. Alabama, Georgia.
Oh yeah,
and I mean Bama is surging, albeit
they looked
against
a lot better
competition. But I mean that loss in Florida State was, especially just how good Florida State's looked, like that loss, looks a lot less bad for them. So, and I like they're certainly surging back. But Georgia, I mean, if you lose to Georgia, that's going to set you back a whole lot if you're Bama in terms of aspiration for the playoffs. You got one over on them last year, and you think like they're not thinking about that. And this time it's in Athens. Like you're gonna go on the road at night. That's gonna be an electric game there on ABC.
Stay tuned for all. Maybe not the UMass Missouri game, but stay tuned. That 5:30 window, 8:30 Eastern window, is crazy. And then the West Coast game of the night at 8:15 in the top 25. BYU is coming to Folsom Field. Oh man, dude, I don't know if Salter's going to be back starting.
I think he should. I mean, they really got something going with them last week against Wyoming.
That is true. We had a real bounce back.
If he can be a threat with his legs and just be safe with the football, like that. I mean, there's a good chance the Buffs can beat BYU. Like I said, I don't know if BYU's really all that good to begin with. So I just think the Buffs got a good chance that they could take him down. Hey, you're Arizona, man. They got Iowa State on the road. Are they going to shock the world?
You know?
You never know, man.
You never know. Arizona, though, I probably not in this one, but I think they've win some good conference games this year that, you know, maybe they start. Maybe in a few seasons they got a chance. Because Noah Fifita was projected to be like one of the highest, like pretty highly rated prospect going into it, and then they fired their head coach, and like they made so many changes with just like the whole team in general. Like they got to just sit down and just build, like get a young quarterback, as a young core of players, and build around it.
I agree. All right. Nothing that I'm looking at just some of these other group of 5 games. It's mostly just conference play starting now, so nothing too crazy to jump into.
I've actually got some breaking news here.
Let's hear it.
4 days after, we're going to talk more about this on Wednesday, but 4 days after the defending champs, the New York Liberty, got eliminated in the first round of the playoffs, they fired Sandy Brondello.
Fire their head coach. Wow.
They're not going to renew her contract, and that is crazy because that's literally the winningest head coach in franchise history. First head coach to bring him to a championship. And they lose in the first round after winning the ring, and they're gone.
It makes you think, like, the only thing I can think of is like what's going on in that locker room.
Like the thing with this year with them, like they had a lot of injuries. They had to stay together and like be optimistic just to make this playoffs. Like the WNBA competition, they got way better. That's why they weren't able to just coast through and get the 1 seed and just get into this playoffs like nothing. And they had a lot of man, that's crazy. Rondello, she was only hired in December 2021, 107 and 53 in 4 seasons.
We'll have to dive into that
Holy crap
on Wednesday, so make sure you tune in for that. We are going to transition over to the NFL now, though. Off we go. Just going to give us a little hype music as we get over to the NFL.
I like it. Another week where both of our teams lost, though, dude. What the heck?
That is fashion. We're going to talk about that Broncos game with our special guest when she gets here. You want to talk about your Saints, or would you like to start on Thursday Night Football, Mr. Caveman?
Let's do Thursday Night Football, and then we can do the Saints, because that's the matchup this Sunday. Saints are going to Buffalo.
Oh God!
That is the game of the week, right there.
My.
That's gonna be fun.
Brutal.
But Bills won it, 21-31.
And this game, Buffalo was basically just playing to Miami's level, which was like taking everything in front of you. And, like, they were playing that way because they could, whereas Miami was playing that way because they had to, because like they couldn't. Like Tua's ability to read the defense has, I mean, it's gone, it's plummeted. Maybe that's
it's like
a thing from the concussions, but he just looks.
I don't know what's happening in their offense and why it's just spiraling out of control.
Right, and I don't. Mike McDaniels is just fried on the sidelines. Like he does not know what's going on, and like meanwhile, like Buffalo just la-di-da, taking their time down the field. Casually putting up 31 points.
Yeah, just got literally whatever they wanted.
Going to 3-0. Like, I mean, this team's going to be just fine. I'll say one of the better games out of Joey Bosa since he joined the team, which like didn't come away with any sacks, but that they were getting a lot of pressure. And I mean, like the Dolphins were trying, like that was anytime the Dolphins tried to hold the ball, you know, like they were getting rid of that thing super quick for the most part. And then they tried to hold it. It just didn't work out.
That was the only time they looked successful, though, is when their offense needs to just give the ball to a playmaker and just hope that they make a play. You got Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and it's like, why Jalen Waddle? I've never seen, he hardly ever does any screen passes. The one screen pass that he caught in this game was a touchdown.
Something's just funky out because like so much of this offense relies on timing and anticipation. You know, Tua throwing to those
His
where
windows,
those
yeah.
openings are going to be, and it hasn't been there. I mean, it was starting to go away last year, and it just hasn't been there.
He's either just blowing the read. Like I could say we got 3 weeks where this guy's made a video doing top 5 worst passes in the NFL for that week. And he finds a pass. He finds 8 passes from Tua and he makes top 8 list. He'll do 3 honorable mentions and 5 passes where it's like, Tua, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of bad reads. And then the interception, when you still have a shot in this game, that couldn't have been any more free to Terrell Bernard. I absolutely gift wrapped that.
Read it from the beginning. He was in the huddle, pretty much.
Basically, I mean, it's like Tua. Like, how do you not see that he is all over that? Like, it just something's very wrong in Miami. I don't like.
Yeah, I feel like
Daniels does not have control of that team anymore, and
I think from all of them, it's like confidence.
Yeah,
because man, Tua is overthrowing Jalen Waddle, who has one of the highest verticals
in the
NFL.
Huge verts, and they're just.
How do you overthrow that? Like, how do you overthrow one of those guys?
I mean, they were able to keep it like close by just being basically dink and dunk and trying to just get the ball out as fast as possible, but it not something you're going to be able to live and die on in the NFL.
No,
Speaking of,
don't be sold on A-Chan either.
Speaking of dying, though, Caveman, Spencer Rattler is no help.
Dude, he has no help. He has absolutely no help. Another week where he's trying his damnedest. He's forced to throw the ball 39 times in this game. And it, like you described it earlier in one of the college football blowouts, where it's like instantly from the first whistle, they came out and just smacked us in the mouth. And in every aspect of the game, the Seahawks were better than the Saints on Sunday. Every aspect of the game.
Punt return. They had did they block a punt too? Or
yeah, they got a punt return touchdown. And then the very next offensive possession for the Saints, they blocked a punt and recovered it on our 10-yard line. So they were already at 1st and goal after they just returned a punt. So they got it. It was 21-0 with like 10 minutes off the clock in the game, dude. This was just terrible.
I mean, like Seattle just got up to such a huge lead. Then they just kind of coasted.
Yeah,
through the rest of the game.
It was 38-6 at halftime, which was nearly our worst. That was the most points we've ever allowed in a half. But if we didn't kick that field goal to end the half, it would have been the worst point differential that we've had in our team's history. And just like you were saying about Rattler, he's forced to throw it 39 times and still hit pretty efficiently despite being under pressure or getting sacked like almost every play. In our run game, we got 42 yards out of Kamara. So we aren't really getting anything out of our run game to help him out too much. No. Our defense couldn't guard a parked car. And I mean, when you come out,
Jigba's just electric, dude.
Yeah, when you come out and get smacked in the mouth though, and it's 21-0 right off rip, I mean, you're not winning.
All the
game.
Special teams plays, the takeaways. It was like the forcing fumbles. They got an interception at one point. You return the kick for a touchdown, block a kick.
But they were better than us in every single aspect of
that game was over by the second quarter.
Yeah, there was no chance.
I mean, the only reason that the Saints, like in terms when you look at like total yardage and time of possession, things like that, the reason that looks even a little competitive is because I mean the Seahawks at that point where they were coasting. Every drive was. The point of a drive was not to score points; it was to just chew up
the
clock as possible.
Get out of there. They beat us in the second quarter. They were ready to clock out, man. They were ready to head home.
So
it was tough.
Slide back over to the early window, and we're just talking about some sloppy football, special teams wise, and offensively for a lot of teams. That goes for the Packers as well. one of
Playing
these
with their
teams-
food in this one, man.
Exactly. Well, I think you look at a team like Green Bay. I saw very interesting. Like, take a team like the Ravens and a team like the Packers, like two teams that like are Super Bowl contenders, right? Like we can all agree on that. Ravens, have just an unstoppable offense, but are kind of vulnerable on defense. The Packers have a pretty unstoppable defense, but they're kind of vulnerable on offense. And it's like when you encounter, and we saw it last night with the Ravens, and we saw it against the Bills. When you encounter a team that's like that can kind of like really go at your weakness, you're more vulnerable than you would think. And I think that was just what we got into it. Like the Browns have a really good defense. I mean, like, dude,
It's pretty much the same as last year too.
right?
Like they keep the same guys around.
And I mean, like they added some great talent with Mason Graham and Carson Schlesinger, like in the draft. So it's just and then Myles Garrett is still like the most unstoppable player in the league. Like I know, like Micah Parsons is a close second to that, but I think like it's Myles Garrett still. I mean, bro, like Myles Garrett is beaten. He's beaten Packers offensive linemen so bad that they're just screaming, "Jordan, run!"
Yeah, that's insane, dude. He got beat so bad off that snap. There was nothing else he could have said to him.
Right. And then the blocked field goal coming down to, and then they're able to get down and in the range to kick it on the other side. You have a Congo line trying to block Myles Garrett. Shelby Harris, just absolute technician when it comes to batting passes at the line of scrimmage. I mean, he's a rotational defensive lineman, but he's like the best at doing that. 13-10, Packers fall. We're gonna move through some of these a little quicker. Get into some of the blowouts. The Colts 3-0. Indiana
3-0,
Jones.
Man. They are not
cooking.
they're not the week 1 and 2 Saints.
Jonathan Taylor
they're insane.
Is on an insane bounce back season. I mean, he's early OPOY candidate for sure. Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones, 18-25, 228 in the touch. I mean,
is this an MVP run from the kid? I mean,
he's looking pretty good. And on the other side, dude, like Zaire Franklin, absolute magnet to the ball. But like, and then you look at some of the guys on the defensive line, like DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, first round draft pick last year in Laya a lot too, who could get it going at any time. They brought in Xavier Howard, getting Cam Bynum, Charvarius Ward. Like
they're a pretty stacked team,
like,
honestly, man.
Really, Jones keeps playing like this. I mean, there's not a lot of team. Like this team's going to be tough to stop. And on the other side, I mean, like, dude, it's Cam Ward and just basically Cam Ward and maybe like Aoman there against the world, basically.
Yeah. There's 2 rookies against the NFL.
Calvin Ridley, you've been a huge fantasy disappointment. But Colts get a big road victory in their division, 41-20. We're going to go to another blowout game here. The Vikings and the Bengals. Isaiah, what's his name? Isaiah Rodgers had maybe the greatest half of football, greatest game anybody has ever had. Like a pick six, a fumble return for a touchdown. He had
insane.
What 2 forced fumbles?
2 forced fumbles, pick six.
On top of 3 tackles, 2 pass deflections.
Oh my God.
The guy was just an absolute animal. Let me see here with the fumbles. Yeah, the one interception and it was 2 forced fumbles. He recovered 1.
Oh my God.
Guy was just an animal. And then on the flip side, I mean, Carson Wentz more of a game manager with just how big they got up as well with the amazing individual play. But I think it's like Jordan Mason, man, maybe RB1 for them there too. I mean, 16 carries, bucks.
Yeah, they might just have to roll with it. Because man, that's kind of they walked out of here like nothing. Like their team isn't injured.
Yeah. And on the other side, not the not the heroism we got from Jake Browning the last time he took over for Joe Burrow. T. Higgins gonna probably be a cut in fantasy football, and I mean, like Jamar Chase, you should have seen it. Like, got his teammate catches a pass, starts running over the middle, and he just straight up gets up out of the way of the defender chasing after. Like he's already
try to block.
He's already checked out.
He's checked out for the year.
Trouble in Cincinnati. Vikings dominate 48-10.
Dude. Oh my gosh.
Another couple other blowouts we're going to just blow through here real quick. The Panthers, what the heck? What? I mean,
this is what I'm saying, dude. Because the Saints got mollywopped, but this is worse. This is worse.
Because Carolina's not that good, bro.
This is worse. Getting beat up 30 unanswered points by Bryce Young and the crew. It is just it's man. Atlanta, I don't understand. They get a lot of high profile players, a lot of high profile coaches, and like big signings in the offseason. They get a lot of media attention every year, and they come to disappoint.
The offense looked just absolutely dysfunctional there. Run game completely disappeared. Yeah, Penix, 2 really bad interceptions. It wasn't like Bryce Young had 121 yards. I mean, ultimate game manager there.
He didn't have to do anything. Chuba Hubbard.
Carolina just slowly grinded this one out.
Yeah.
While the Falcons struggled to get anything going. 30-0 win for the Panthers. Another game that turned out to be surprisingly not very close. I mean, Marcus Mariota had that Commanders offense humming. Jeremy McNichols ripping off a couple of big runs. They're still just not giving Krosky Mare enough touches, I don't believe. The running game out of the Commanders isn't great. I mean, they got 201. A lot of that came on that 60-yard touchdown run. Defensively, they held really well. They just gave up, some late slop.
Yeah.
There in the fourth quarter when they were already up by a bunch. Trey Tucker, man.
Dude, is that the guy that you swap out T. Higgins for?
Maybe.
This could be your dude. Because that's a huge
I'm like,
game.
Is this an outlier game for him? Like, certainly the best game of his career. 8 catches, 145, and 3 touchdowns. But you look at the rest of the season, 13 catches for 211 and 4 TDs. So a lot of that production coming in this single game alone. Is that the breakout? Is this the signal that he's breaking out? I'm not so sure. I'm kind of interested to see how
let's see what happens.
He keeps going, but 41-24 victory there for the Commanders.
It was at least kind of close, like at the beginning of this game, and Raiders fell apart.
Trouble in Houston, man. CJ Stroud and the Texans fall to the Jaguars 17-10.
0-3.
0-3. I mean,
there's
season's over. I mean, this is Indy's division to lose. Brian Thomas Jr. Is it the Shane Waldron effect?
Ew.
Is he scared?
T-Law 20 of 40. Right. Oh my! They won.
It was an ugly game, bro. Ugly game. There was not a lot of cut-ins to this one on NFL Red Zone until it got close.
Oh my god!
So like a bad late interception by CJ Stroud, which ended up leading to a touchdown on the other end for ETN here. Like here's the thing: it's like Jacksonville's 2-1. They got a division win. They
fraudulent 2-1.
They're nowhere near as good as Indianapolis. I mean, like that. At this point, I mean, Indy should run away with the division if they keep playing the way they're playing.
The Colts floor all these teams.
No other team
There's no chance
can hold a candle to them. I like what Liam Cohen's done for the running game with the Jaguars, but yeah, I mean, it hasn't been pretty on the T-Law. Thomas has taken a huge step back.
He only had 2 catches in this one, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
And one of those was a long for 46, and then
I'm pretty sure that was at the end of the game too.
Yeah. So I mean, Jacksonville, I think they got a good defense going for them. A lot of underrated names on there, but
What's going to happen
and
in
like
that
the
quarterback
Texans,
room
dude,
in
I'm
this
telling you, like
offseason?
they've got a great defense. The defense is absolutely stacked. Keeps them in all these games. And it's like they've got a ton of talent in the wide receiver room. They've got, they've got some solid running backs, but the O line is just so
It's
terrible.
horrible.
And I like CJ Stroud. It's hard to just only blame the O line because he hasn't been making great reads.
But at the same time,
And I don't.
it's so much harder to make a good read when you're getting pressured the
Right.
entire game. Like you're just thrown off.
And the play calling is a little weird. Like they're not really trying to help him out with all the pressure that he's got to deal with.
Because I agree with you. The team is stacked in every position besides the offensive line. You got Joe Mixon when he comes back and healthy, and Nick Chubb. That's my God, that's insane. Get those guys going. If they could just run for a positive yard with some blockers in front of them. Like it's not Nick Chubb is not the greatest, not a good running back because he just runs through everybody when he has no blockers. I mean, that's just not how football works.
Right. The New England Patriots, you outgained Pittsburgh 369 to 203. You had 26 of their 17 first downs. You were way better on the ground, way better through the air. Penalties were pretty even. You had more time of possession.
Gave it away.
Just 5 turnovers. Oh my God. The fumbles. 3 out of the running backs, 1 out of May. You also get an interception from them. I mean, like Pittsburgh just kind of sat there and like let the Patriots hand them this win. I mean, in no way were the Steelers a better team in here. The ball security. I mean, an old school coach like Mike Vrabel too has just got to be furious. I mean, he's got to be just like I would not have wanted to be in that film room on Monday. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they're just stupid penalties and like so many promising drives just cut short by turnovers. Hunter Henry though might be the sneaky great fantasy tight end in this one. I'm just like on the Steelers side, like I don't really have anything to say. Like they looked super mediocre. I mean, they just with 5 turnovers too. Like you think they do more than barely survive 21-14, and like they got bailed out by what was his name? Was it Demario Douglas? Who's number 3? That is Demario Douglas not picking up the easiest first down catch.
Yeah.
All you have to do when you catch that ball and take a step backwards, even if they hit
First down.
Forward momentum, babe, first down. Yeah, this was an ugly, just sloppy mess of a game. Patriots are a good team. They just can't get out of their own way so far this season. I mean, that's where it's coming down to. And yeah, the Steelers, another pretty fraudulent 2-1 team. Like they're not that good though. They really aren't. All right.
I want to stop in on this game. Chicago, Dallas. Let's break down these 2 quarterbacks. Caleb Williams' stats in this one. 19-28, 298, 4 touchdowns. I think Spencer Rattler does this on the Bears against the Cowboys.
Those weapons, against this defense,
easily. That is no knock on. It's more of a knock on the Cowboys defense, but also just kind of point to prove that Spencer Rattler, get that man some help because he's been insanely consistent despite having one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. But the Cowboys got straight up massacred by the Bears.
It's insane, like how just losing one guy on defense, like how big of a difference Micah Parsons really made. Because like guys like Diggs, Deron Bland, Donovan Wilson, like
They
really
didn't
cook-
even get a sack on
Those
a
are-
guy that's known for taking sacks.
right. And like those are DBs that were well respected even just last year, and some of them were Pro Bowlers. They're just getting torched every which way because I mean they actually have to cover. Like teams aren't trying to get the ball out quick; they can just sit back there and let things develop because you don't have that fear of Micah Parsons, man. Like he really made it all tick. I think Chicago, good game out of Caleb, whatever, against a bad defense. Your running game still atrocious, still awful. That's going to be a big problem for you.
Shout out Luther Burden though, because he had
Yeah.
a game, dude.
He went off. Him and Roma Dunze just popping off. DJ Moore, man, could you like get more involved? My fantasy team would absolutely love that. Got the wrong Bears receiver, it would seem. I think Dallas is really just not that good. The Bears really aren't that good either. They just
The Cowboys are going to be in a million.
they beat a team that they really are able to exploit and take advantage of.
They're gonna get blown out a lot this year or just be in a million shootouts.
Yeah.
The Dallas Cowboys. It's gonna either be like the worst game to watch as a fan or one of the best.
Speaking of the game that was pretty sick, and Philadelphia, they just find ways to win football games.
In this one, honestly,
and Hurts respectable. He looked respectable as a passer.
They opened up their passing game just enough to win the game.
Yeah.
That's kind of why people don't like their offense. And a lot of people say that it's kind of boring. But like this is a team that just goes and wins games.
When they needed to throw the ball, it was good play calling to just like get Hurts comfortable and settled in the pocket. AJ Brown finally getting involved there. I mean, it's been a real slow start with Saquon, though. I'm a little worried about just like I don't know if they can pass the ball more so like they did. I think that's going to open up the run game because like the problem is I think they're just seeing too many stacked boxes, and they gotta open that up and get those boxes unstacked. The other side of LA, fire your special teams coordinator. How do you let that field goal get blocked twice, one time to win the game? But man, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, that pair of interior defensive linemen is just deadly. It's incredibly deadly.
After a while, they really just couldn't contain him. Like the Rams had to take 6 field goals in this one. Taking 6 field goals in this league now is just not enough to win games, especially when 2 of them are getting blocked. Like that's not, they don't, they had to find out ways to score later in games.
Rams got up to a big lead. They got too passive and they
got too conservative.
Too conservative.
Way too conservative.
And predictable. And they're just, their inability to really establish a consistent run game. I mean, they had 160 yards on here, but like you look at it, it wasn't.
Kyron had to work for it.
Yeah, I mean, Kyron's really got to work for it. Like, I think Corum kind of deserves more nods. He's able to be a bit more explosive. Like Kyron's a good back. Like he'll still get you like 3-4 years. Like he'll train them out. I think like Corum just opens up a little bit more explosiveness in that running game that I think they might want to try to lean on here. And then Puka he might break Michael Thomas's record for receptions.
Yeah, he's insane,
going
dude.
crazy. Like he only has like 1 touchdown this year that's like rushing, but he has 29 receptions.
Hey.
Like he's been a great fantasy wide receiver in PPR just purely off of receptions because he just
it's 11 points right there just from catching the ball,
racking them up. Yeah. And they're giving them the ball in the running game and stuff like that too. So, yeah, LA just got too complacent. That was their big problem here. You just can't. Like, I don't think they thought Hurts was going to be able to throw it enough to get them back in this football game, and they just wanted to stack the box and try to chew clock. But the Eagles, that's why I still got them as a potential the potential Super Bowl winner, at least winning the NFC, because this is just an incredibly talented roster. No matter what happens, they just find all these different ways on defense, on offense, on special teams. They just have playmakers and guys making plays everywhere. It's without a doubt the deepest roster in the league. Our final game of the morning, the Buccaneers almost fell victim to the Jets of just also getting too complacent and predictable.
Huge lead. Then 21 points in the fourth.
Right. Get that field goal block in return for a kick. Will McDonald was playing his heart out. I got to give him credit for that right there. And ran the kick back. Was making didn't get any tackles, but he was getting a good amount of pressures on Baker. Mike Evans, is that injury serious? I mean, they're already pretty thin.
It's a hamstring, and I'm gonna be honest, he's already had some injury issues with that soft tissue stuff, like the hamstrings. He's 32. I'm kind of expecting a little bit longer of a return on this one.
Tampa still finding ways to win football games. Despite it all, they're 3-0. Got a big test next week against the Eagles. I mean, Mecca Ibuka might be your number one wide receiver there. Can we Bucky? Nothing crazy on the ground on the Bucky Irving yet, too. Only 174 yards on the season. They're getting them involved in the passing game, but it hasn't looked super great out of the running game. But Chase McLaughlin, I knew that he was going to be sick as a kicker. Could have been 6 of 6 if that didn't get blocked. But 21 fantasy points for me this week. He was my best player on 2 teams. That was absolutely depressing.
But it came down to, again, you don't want Baker to get the ball last.
Right. I mean, in the clutch, if you
2 plays they got down the field and won it.
3 weeks.
It looked over.
3 weeks in a row. It's like Baker Mayfield with his back against the wall starts playing his best ball. And
you don't want his back against the wall when he was behind that Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah.
There we go.
Our guest has joined in. Do you want to just bring her in now, or should we go to the break and get her prepped and set up?
Let's do a quick break. We'll get everyone settled in, and we'll come right back, everyone. We got the Denver Broncos and the LA Chargers game to cover. I'm sure HG's kind of heartbroken on that. The Saints got beat down bad, so I can't even complain.
Broncos beat themselves. We'll have that to cover, and a very special guest, a Rachel Vigil, insider with the Broncos, coming up after the mic in hand. Stay tuned. So hard they banned my brain.
Could have slipped around the corner at my favorite coffee shop. Could have passed your Subaru in the Belcourt parking lot. Could have sat just feet away from me on a flight back to Tennessee. Few rows apart. When I tell you I feel lucky, believe that it's the truth. Somehow in this giant world you found me and I found you. Could have been a blind date, had to cancel, I was running late. Could have never been that friend of a friend. Could have almost met a million times, lived totally separate lives, and miss all we've ever been. When I tell you I feel lucky, believe that it's the truth. Somehow in this giant world you found me and I found you. have never left the desert, had your California dream. Could have stayed back in the Midwest, you know I miss Missouri. Moved halfway across the country, now we're standing here today. I won't take for granted that our lives turned out this way. When I tell you I feel lucky, believe that it's the truth. Somehow in this giant world you found me and I found you. You found me and I found you.
Penalty on YOU. Delay of game. 5 seconds before the show. But hey, thanks for watching.
All right, everyone. You are looking live, and it is time for our special guest, Broncos Insider Interview of the Week. We've got Miss Rachel, and is your last name Vigil or Vigil?
Vigil, yes.
Rachel Vigil joining us this morning. Thank you for taking your time to come on the show. We appreciate you.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. First of all, can we talk about the singing that we just heard? That was amazing. Like, I wish I had lungs like that for sure.
Yep, that was Emily Myers, one of the fantastic artists that donate their music for us to use here on NBR.
Amazing. Very nice. Well, thank you guys for having me so much. I really
No,
do.
we are super stoked to talk to you. Somebody that's within the Broncos organization. Been in Colorado my whole life. Huge Broncos fan.
Yeah.
And before we start interviewing you, we got to talk a little bit about this game. It was an unfortunate, tough road loss against a really good Chargers teams. What were some of your takeaways from the game as somebody that works really closely with the team?
Yeah, I mean, obviously such a bummer in back-to-back weeks between the Chargers and the Colts. My biggest takeaway is that this team has no identity. We don't know what they're going to do. Every single game looks so different. I talk about it all the time on all the shows we do. Sean Payton is such a mind game type coach, and I feel like he's constantly playing mind games. And instead of saying this is the Broncos' identity and you have to be able to beat us, it feels like he is always going up against his opponent and saying we're going to switch things up so that you don't know what we're going to do, and that's how we're going to beat you. And it's so frustrating. And when you look at the run game, you're sitting there thinking, why can't we just run the dang ball? The O-line is apparently doing much better than they were last year, even though they still weren't bad last year. You have a guy like J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey now, and yet all of a sudden R.J. Harvey is getting more targets as a receiver than he is as a running back. It just doesn't quite make sense. The defense did everything possible to keep them alive, and unfortunately it just didn't work out the way we were all hoping.
Right.
I agree. I honestly kind of think J.K. Dobbins is the one guy and the offense that really anyone can be like, yeah, that's one. He's been playing to his strengths, really. But I agree. You got a young quarterback going in with a new game plan every week is a lot on the shoulders.
Yes. No joke.
The penalties are really killing us these past 2 weeks. What are your thoughts on those penalties? Because this game, 10 for 90 penalty yards, and they killed us last week against the Colts, ultimately ended up costing us the game.
Yeah, it's so interesting because, well, one, if the offense can't have any in the red zone, that's unacceptable in so many ways. But two, we had Chris Harris Jr. on our post-game show on Sunday, and he was talking about the Talanoa Hufanga, a little bit of an extra umph when he brought down a guy on a tackle. And he says, you can do those, but you do them in the first quarter so that it has no impact. You want to set a reminder to everybody that you're facing of we're a big bad defense, but you do that in the first quarter. You make them fear you in the first quarter. You don't do it in the fourth quarter, especially in a close game. And so while I don't think he did it intentionally to be the quote unquote big bad safety back there, I do think he was kind of just trying to make a statement and make sure he wrapped it up, because we saw them, have a guy that ran for 37 yards earlier in the game because they didn't bring him down on the ground and they thought it was forward movement. So it's been interesting, but it goes all the way even back to the first drive for the Broncos offense. They all of a sudden had to call a timeout. There should be in no circumstance ever that you are calling a timeout on the first drive for the offense. Like, that should not happen. You game plan, you do walkthroughs all week. Like, that just shouldn't happen. There's too much just mismanagement on this team, and there's too many moving parts that I think we are seeing a lot of penalties, and we're seeing a lot of dumb calls too, in my personal opinion.
Do you think the youth and just a lot of new additions to the team, it just hasn't gelled yet, and maybe there's just a chemistry issue that we're seeing here?
I don't think it's chemistry, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. We know that these guys are really close. Maybe, J.K. Dobbins coming in here with the running back room, that's kind of had some impact. Like, that's the only place I could see. But, Bo with Troy Franklin, they were friends and they played together at Oregon. We've seen Bo and Cortland become really good friends. Like, the offense all seems to gel. The offensive line has been together for so many years, which we're really lucky for. And then defense, yeah, there's been some new additions, but a lot of these guys have played together for so long. I really do think it just comes down to not only the play calling, but just how many personnel groupings we're seeing and how much movement we are seeing on the field, that it's not there. And Bo too isn't a rookie, or is in a year two. He's not a rookie anymore. And I think that they stepped up the playbook a little bit, but maybe it is too overwhelming for him and he's just not quite there. We've seen him revert back to some of the bad habits he had early on in the season last year. So hopefully he cleaned it up in his first year. Hopefully he can do that again this year.
Right. Those 3 deep shots, I come back to those. It was
this. The Broncos lost the game by about this much.
And every time he got anxious. He didn't set his feet for any of those.
I know. I was even joking on the first one to Marvin Mims when it would have been a touchdown. Like, literally, he looked like a little bunny that was hopping to the side, and you're like, oh no. Like, you just knew it was either going to be an incredible catch by Marvin Mims, or we were going to be like, what was that, Bo? Like, it was no other way. It was going to be very black and white on that play.
That one was the flea flicker. He stepped up in the pocket. And on the initially, it's like, all right, he's stepping up to make the throw. But like you were saying, he didn't really set his feet. He kind of jumped and threw it.
Yeah, bunny hopped on the throw.
Just too much on it.
Well, and it comes down to, too, in my opinion, it's like, Sean, why are we doing a flea flicker in a game? Like, I go back to the Buffalo Bills game, the playoff game, and they score on the first offensive drive. We're all like, that was amazing. But Sean had a trick play drawn up because he knew the Bills were a better team than the Broncos. And it was one of those things where you're like, okay, we have to make some magic here. That's how I felt against the Chargers. Sean knew that the Chargers were a better team. And that's why we had some of those, quote unquote, trick plays. How often do you actually see a flea flicker in an NFL game? Not very often.
Crazy that we got 2 of them in the late window this week, right around the same time, because the Bears successfully ran one.
Oh, did they? So I don't get to see any of the other games really on Sunday. I watch a little bit of the morning games, but yeah, I don't get to see any other. So I didn't even see that flea flicker.
Makes sense. Yeah, they ran it a lot better than we did. Caleb Williams actually set his feet. On the flip side for the Chargers, we do got to give a lot of props to Justin Herbert, who I would say through 3 weeks, besides maybe Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Herbert is right there in the
He's
MVP
in that conversation.
And I got to break down the touchdown pass he had to Keenan Allen was something special that I really just want to give some flowers to, because Zach Allen absolutely dominated his man on that rep. Jonathan Cooper was coming in on the other side with the contain. Not to mention you had Strnad in the middle of the field staring him down. A pump fake to get Strnad off. Somehow steps up in the pocket. That pump fake pausing, the pressure just enough for him to step up in the pocket, take those guys out. And then with Nick Bonito coming off on the other side for contain. And I mean, really hand in his face as he makes that throw.
Yeah.
On the run with his feet not really set, delivering it to Keenan Allen. That's one where it's like the Broncos couldn't have played it any more perfectly, and he still beat him, and you're gonna just have to deal with that when you play an elite quarterback, and that's why it's so frustrating that we couldn't capitalize on some of these other opportunities to help put this game away, because a guy like Herbert at some point in the game when if it's close, he's going to do something like that.
First of all, you should be in play-by-play. You described that play so perfectly that I could actually visually see it too, just replaying it. So you should be in play-by-play, just to let you know. But yeah, I mean, You got to give it to Justin Herbert. Before the season began, I was like, the Broncos are going to go 1-1. Why? Or against the Chargers. Because I was like, Justin Herbert's going to get hurt at some point, right? That's the struggles we've seen. He would have better stats than pretty much every single quarterback in the NFL if he had actually played all of those games. Justin Herbert is a fantastic quarterback. What they're doing in Los Angeles, you are really seeing them play to their strengths. And while it sucks that they're in the AFC West and we have to play them twice a year, and the fact that the NFL had their schedule where they played 3 AFC West opponents the first 3 weeks of the season is crazy. And the fact that they won every single one of those matchups is wild to me as well. But they're just a really, really solid football team. And they're lucky Justin Herbert has such a good arm too, because obviously now Najee Harris out for some time, and then just having to deal with Marion Hampton, their new running back also. The Broncos were looking at him in the draft. It's going to be really interesting to see how much they're going to have to really lean on Herbert. But of all guys to have, you're happy it's him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we'll break down their coverage of this game. But Rachel, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Let's get into this interview.
A little bit about you.
Yeah, so I am a native here in Colorado, born and raised. I went to Thornton High School, went to Colorado State University for college. Immediately after that, I worked for the Western Athletic Conference as a host and sideline reporter. And then I also worked with the Colorado Rapids. Recently went to the Fan and spent 3 years there kind of developing their digital side of things. And then now I'm with Altitude TV and Mile High Sports. So I have been kind of all over the place when it comes to Denver sports media. I'm very lucky. I've got to cover the Broncos, the Avalanche, the Nuggets, the Rapids, literally everything you can imagine, and have been a part of some really cool moments. So it's been a very fun journey. The media situation is so different than I thought it would be when I was going into school. And there's so much competition now that it's crazy with social media, but it really is the best job. I do not look at it all like I am working. Like, it just feels like this was what I was supposed to do, and I'm really lucky to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Great mindset to have.
Definitely. What was some of your biggest drives, some of your biggest motivations to kind of pursue sports journalism?
Yeah, so I actually knew at the age of 10. I went to my first Broncos game with my dad. It was a preseason game. Like, it was downpouring in the rain, and I was like, I absolutely love this. And from then on, I knew that I wanted to go into, football essentially and in sports. So I wanted to play football, right? Little 10-year-old me was like, I want to play football when I grow up. And then I realized that wasn't going to happen. I'm only 5'4" and 120 pounds, so I would get absolutely bulldozed if that was the case. But I was like, what's the next best thing? And that was going to be sideline reporting. And then there were so many other avenues that have opened up to hosting, to, doing content creation, all sorts of things that I've just been really lucky to do. So I've known forever. My mom was taking me to do shadowing intern experiences when I was in 8th grade at 4 a.m. going to 9 News in Denver and all sorts of stuff. So I've known that this was the path I wanted to do for a really, really long time.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's incredible.
There's definitely so many different pathways that you can take with it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways you can create through sports journalism. It's awesome.
Totally. And now with social media too, didn't mean to cut you off, but now with social media, I tell people all the time, I'm like, go out there and you can create any content you want. Right? Like, a lot of us watch the game the same way. Even though I am doing it on TV, I still watch the game on TV. You can go do it on a YouTube channel. I actually met some gentleman who we were going through an Arby's drive-through actually. And he was like, he recognized me and he was like, I'm a huge Denver Broncos fan. He's like, I make content actually like all the time on the Broncos. So he subscribed to his YouTube channel. He's got 40,000 subscribers. And I'm like, dude, you can make some good money doing that. So yeah, I tell people all the time, social media is such a great way. If you want to get involved with sports, just start.
Oh yeah,
exactly. I mean, you can take it as far as you're willing to.
Yeah.
It's you've got full control of it. So it's a great way to get into it.
And it's just so much fun. That kind of brings up the next question that I had, was how you ended up getting into your position as a Broncos insider and doing that kind of stuff as behind the scenes reporting.
Yeah. So I've always loved vlogs. I used to watch YouTube, growing up and all of that kind of stuff. I was always fascinated by it. And I just realized that there wasn't a lot of people showing what it's actually like to be a sports reporter. right? Like there's a lot of times where things don't go as planned and we have to just follow whatever the Broncos want to do. So I kind of took that avenue of like, let me show people what it's actually like to be in this industry and to bring them a little bit closer to their teams. And I really look at my job as that. Like, how can I provide information that the fans want to know? So before every Broncos open locker room, I will tweet out like, Broncos open locker room, what do you guys want to know? And I try to go in and ask questions based on what the fans want to know. Because there's such a different, when you're around it all the time, like I am, I feel like I often forget about some of the small details, right? We're so like nitty gritty ingrained in some of the deeper stories that I'm like, sometimes guys just want to know what's going on with like Dre Greenlaw. Like, is he actually out at practice? Is he on the side field? Are you seeing him in the locker room? Is he working with PT? Like, what is he doing? So I just really try and be the eyes and the ears of the fans and try to take that approach, because there's so many guys out there that are the beat reporters who are literally there every single minute of every single day, and they will dive in and go find the agent who can, you know, link up with the high school coach who's telling a unique story about how one time they caught a rushing touchdown and, you know, had to also do the like block punt, you know, something crazy like that. And I'm like, that is their job as a beat reporter. I want to be something different. And our generation is so used to social media compared to some of the older guys that I just think it's a unique and different approach. And to be honest, you have to stand out a lot. So when I got my job at the radio station, that was kind of the avenue they wanted me to go. They were like, your vlogs are really good. People are very intrigued by them. Keep going. And so that's kind of how I became known as just like the behind the scenes girl.
Cool.
I really like how you go about that, asking people on Twitter.
Yeah.
So questions that they want to know, because it gives like fans like another level of connection to the team. Like it's awesome when like you can kind of have that like median to like get your questions to the team in a way and get some more personalized answers.
You feel like you're actually a part of the interview a little bit. You know, your questions are being answered as well.
Yeah, no, totally. And again, I just feel like I get to be the eyes and the ears for all of these people. And just even like simple things that I often overlook, fans are like, oh, well, what about this? And I'm like, you're right. Like, why aren't we talking about this? Because again, we're just so like deep into the details and trying to figure out other breaking news things. And I'm like, just take a step back, Rachel. Like, what do the fans want to know? And I think it's a good approach.
Is that kind of the main way that you go about getting like your information? Or is there some other ways that you kind of get your stories or like your main like topics?
Yeah, honestly, a lot of, so I've been now covering this team for 5 years. Gosh, that's kind of crazy to even think about. So I feel like everything just kind of, I know, right? Like it's ingrained in me. So this year specifically, I'm getting to be more of a beat reporter. The last couple of years, I've covered the Nuggets, the Avalanche, and the Broncos. Now this year, I'm really like diving deep into the Broncos. So I'm out there for the locker rooms every single day. So building those relationships with those guys. Example, like I knew RJ Harvey was going to change his number before the rest of the public did. I just gone up to him in the locker room one day and I was like, hey, like, are you going to keep 37? You know, a lot of people are making fun of the number 37, which I don't know why it's a bad number, but to each their own, I guess. And he was like, yeah, I am. Like tomorrow I'm going to change it. And I was like, well, do you mind telling me like what number you're going to do? And he was like 12. And I was like, what's the significance with 12? And he was like, just the best available number. But he didn't want people to find out until later. So like I was texting the people I know behind the scenes and I was like, just get ready. Like he's going to announce this. But there's also that trust you have to have with players of like, you don't want anybody to find out yet. Like we'll tease it so it gets people talking. And then on your terms, you can announce it. Like there's people that are out there to break news. And then there's just people that are out there to like, I don't want to say build relationships with players because that sounds bad, especially as a female for me. But like we want to draw attention to what the players want to highlight, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're more just like being their friend. It's not really like it's not like a friendship type of relationship where they're in the locker room and you're just kind of, you know, the number changing questions and like stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. Or Troy Franklin, you know, I've talked to him. Marvin Mims did like a touchdown dance with sign language. And it's like, okay, like what are the stories and what are the things you're doing that you want to get out to Broncos country? Like I just try to be that middleman to help them do that.
So you've been with the team for reporting for them for 4 years, also with the Avs and Nuggets, it seems. Yep. Who are some of your like favorite players, coaches, you know, people in those organizations
Oh,
that
yeah.
you've met over that time?
Oh my gosh. It's so much easier to tell you the guys that I don't like compared to the guys I do because there's so many good
You can do
ones.
that too.
Yeah, I won't do that. That'll probably get me in trouble. But I will just say in Denver, we are so very lucky to have so many great athletes that are caring and that, appreciate what we do and are willing to give us the time. Like, we're really, really lucky between all three of those teams to do that. And I've been a part of some really special moments. Actually, so this, I don't know if you can see it. This beer is from the Nuggets locker room celebration after they won the NBA Finals.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like, those types of things are just so special. And there's just so many good guys. Like, they realized it was a long season for us too. And they're like, we want you guys to celebrate with us. Now, of course, we did it quite not on their level, but it was just really cool. But I'm like, I can never open that beer. Like, that is just a memorable beer now at this point.
that's awesome.
That's incredible. All right. Well, I know it's a little far out, but are you hearing any buzz from the scouting department on some potential future prospects
Ooh.
that the Broncos are looking at? I mean, are they very focused on the now, or do they have like a little part of them that's still working on building the future?
I'm sure George Payton is starting to scout some of the college guys, right? Like, they're out there every single weekend. Any college games you go to, you'll always see a row in the press box of different scouts from NFL teams. We won't hear about that. And to be honest, I mean, we are literally going into week 4 of the NFL season. It is such a long season, but you're just hoping that, some of the free agents you brought in, whether that be Evan Ingram, Dre Greenlaw, who now just went on IR, those guys get back healthy. So the investment you made in them actually pays off. So this week we'll be looking forward to seeing if Evan Ingram's back out of practice. That'll be really beneficial. But yeah, I mean, it is literally, I tell people this all the time. I'm like, I'll see you in February when the Super Bowl happens, because the NFL season is so long that there's hardly time for anything else. But I'm sure the scouts are for sure out there checking out some of the prospects and which areas they need to grow. It would not surprise me, though, if the Broncos, I'm trying to think which direction they're probably going to go. My guess would be inside linebacker they'll probably look at in the draft. Potentially somebody I could see on the O-line, just because some of those guys are getting a little bit older. Bringing a rookie, allow them to learn from that O-line for 1 year and then hopefully help them out. So, yeah, those scouts are always out there, though. They're always watching.
Okay. And people can go to you to find out more information as that comes to light, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Well, you're speaking about Evan Ingram. I know he's been hurt, but the first 2 games of the season, very limited targets. Didn't see him a whole lot out there, just getting passes or in the route tree. Is there, a plan for the Broncos to try to get him more involved? Because he was probably out on the offensive side of the ball our most exciting addition. People were really excited for what he could add to our tight end room, and it just hasn't really taken off yet.
It is mind-blowing to me. It makes me want to pull the hair out of my head when I'm like, this guy is supposed to be your joker. We talked all last year about who's the joker for the Denver Broncos team. You talk all off season about, oh my gosh, the Broncos finally got their joker. And now you're not utilizing him like a joker. It doesn't make sense to me. I wonder how hurt he really was in the Colts game. Like, did it come at halftime and that's when his back got tweaked? So they kind of were like, well, we're not going to, really try and emphasize that injury. So I don't know. I wish I had the answer to you. If I did, I'd probably make a lot of money because I'm sure a lot of people would be interested for that information. Yeah. But I just don't quite understand. But again, I think it really does come down to Sean Payton and what he's calling. And everybody was expecting him to use Evan Ingram as this joker. And he was going to be a huge emphasis for this offense. And I really do think sometimes he just plays these mind games and he's not seeing, that idea blossom yet. But hopefully he's back out of practice this week. That'll be really good for this team, and then they can get him involved. Because right now, the fact that Cortland Sutton and Troy Franklin are the only 2 guys that have had quote-unquote big games is a little frustrating.
Yes, certainly. Well, there's plenty of fantasy owners out there that are wondering what's going on with Evan Ingram.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's honestly Broncos players. There's a lot of guys on that really were the people are go-to in fantasy. People are going for Broncos guys. I mean, it's a playoff roster, though.
Oh, well,
that's kind of what we're seeing is just a lot of in-game issues right now.
I could not believe how many people told me or tweeted at me that they drafted RJ Harvey in the first round of their fantasy draft. I was like, you guys, what are we doing here? We can absolutely not be taking him. I was like, I'm sorry, you're probably going to lose your fantasy season. And we always joke of there's so much rotation when it comes to Sean Payton's offense that it's actually a fantasy owner's worst nightmare because you never like are going to have one guy consistently get the ball. And then Bo has obviously been struggling tremendously, which I don't want to like toot my own horn a little bit, but Bo didn't look super good in the like during training camp, but everybody was like, "Oh, it's the Broncos defense. They're just that good. Like everything's going to be fine. Nobody's going to be able to compete against the Broncos defense, so Bo's going to be great." And I was sitting there like, "Oh, Bo just doesn't look good. Like he's not connecting on some really easy passes that he should." So it's not surprising to say that he hasn't looked great, but the fact that he's literally being ranked by Pro Football Focus as the worst quarterback in the league, it's a little concerning.
Yeah, that's I think they're maybe being a little harsh, but like he's not too far off from it. It's been real rough.
It definitely has been. Yes, I know. We're all just like, okay, is it Monday night yet? Can we have a game where they actually look like a complete team? That would be awesome.
Right. Well, you think anybody on the Broncos defense can do what Isaiah Rodgers did to the Bengals this Monday night?
I don't know. So I heard a lot about that game. I haven't watched the tape. I need to because I know there's obviously a ton that went into it. But I mean, what they have 7 sacks total? Was that what it was? Or am I getting my games confused? Oh no! Last night's game was 7 sacks total between the with Lamar and them. Right. But I do know that Jake Browning obviously didn't have a superior game. That's for sure.
The heroism was not there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like I said, I haven't watched that game, but if I had to guess who would have a big game for the Broncos against them, I mean, Nick Bonito's such an easy one to give you because he's obviously been really successful the past couple of weeks. But if I had to give you somebody else, I think Pat Surtain is due for a big game. Or even Riley Moss, I could see him getting a pick because they've been targeting him obviously a lot more. I've been surprised this season, if I'm being honest, of just how much teams have targeted Pat Surtain. I feel like last year he had to get bored because nobody was willing to throw the ball at him. This year he's seeing a little bit more action. But I'm going to go, if I had to say one person, I think Riley Moss has an interception on Monday night against Jake Browning. I think that would be really, really good. He's just, I don't want to say he struggles because he's just seen so much action, but they're definitely picking on him and he's given up some decent plays. So I would like to see him have a bounce back game.
Yeah, now teams definitely go his way a lot. It'd be, I mean, a big bounce back for him considering how badly he got burned.
I know. He literally got mossed. Riley Moss got mossed in the game on Sunday.
It was unfortunate. Yeah.
I know.
Some struggles from him there.
Seriously.
So we're a couple weeks into the week. Has Sean Payton addressed the media with any big plans on like how they're going to clean up some of these self-inflicted problems going on this season?
Yeah, so we talked to Quinn Miners yesterday on a conference call, and one of the things that they really emphasized was, one, the penalties, like you mentioned, but two, just being really detailed when it comes to the offense this week, going into Monday Night Football. You know, he just really was like, we need to be very detail-oriented this week when it comes to our prep and what we're doing. So that just leads me to think, like, they're going to really dive in a little bit more, maybe than they have the past couple of weeks, to be just smarter and be cleaner when it comes to a lot of things. So I think that's kind of where it'll, you know, hopefully clean up some things defensively. I thought that they played a really good game on Sunday. I don't think you can ask for much more. And it sucks that they lost, but really they shouldn't. The defense kept them in the game as long as they could. It was pretty much a, you know, I felt like a 75-25 chance of if the Chargers were going to go down and do something on the Broncos defense, but I felt like it was a 90-10 chance of like, oh, 90% of the time this offense isn't going to be able to move the ball. 10% will get lucky and they will actually be able to. So it felt very flip-flop between both teams coming on. The first half to me felt like the entire game had already been played. I was just so mentally exhausted. I actually had to make a cappuccino in the middle of the game because I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this post-game show because I feel like I have lived 5 lives already. So I think when it comes to Sean Payton and just cleaning it up, one, I hope he simplifies the offense a little bit more. Again, not as many personnel groupings. And two, I just think for the defensive side of things, you just have to keep playing your game and not allow yourself to get quote unquote too cocky. And honestly, based off of things I just heard in the locker room, I think they were a little too cocky against the Colts in game 2. They obviously got smacked around, and then they were able to look back and check the film and say, you know what, that's not the team we're going to be. And then, of course, had a good game against the Chargers.
Very true. Well, we've hit about a 30-minute mark of the interview. I have one more question.
For sure.
Aside from your social media advice, what other advice can you give for newer, younger reporters and other people that just want to try and get into working into sports?
Yeah. Social media is such a big one. I did so many internships when I was in college. I didn't get paid. I was commuting 2 hours to go one way. I would just say get involved that way. Do as many internships as you can. Go shadow people. People I interned with are still in the industry today. And I talk to them now all the time. Like, I've become friends with them. So building those relationships, everybody is willing to help everybody in the industry, which is really nice. And there are just so many avenues you can go. But even if you're having to run cables, or you aren't, you're not getting to be on the quote unquote spotlight, like, just go out there and do it and make those connections. And I think that can really go a long way. Like I said, I did so many internships, and I got my first job out of college because the guy said, like, you were a go-getter. You could clearly see that from how many internships you did. And that is, if I'm being completely honest, that is where you are going to learn everything. It sounds bad, but like, I learned nothing in school. Like, absolutely nothing that helps me in my job today. I have learned it all out in the field doing internships and my first job doing social media, all of that jazz. So I just tell people all the time, like, go out there and actually try and work in the industry. And if you have to take a free job, you have to take a free job. The other thing too is just everybody beware about working in sports. You can either make a lot of money or you can make no money at all. But the thing is everybody wants to work in sports, or at least almost everybody wants to. So it is very, very hard to how do I want to explain this? It is very hard to make a full living when you start out, especially here in Denver. I have so many good friends that are literally paycheck to paycheck just to be in the industry. And I just always want to tell people that, like, if you want to live really comfortably, sports may not be the best place to start, because it is truthfully so hard. You have to work very, very hard to make a lot of money in this industry.
I think our market here has just gotten bigger and bigger. And I mean, if
our
our teams, we got Joker, man. I mean, if the Rockies get good, it's going to be even harder out here, man. It's going to be rough.
They got to sell their team first if they ever want to have any hopes of actually being good. I'm not actually a baseball person, and maybe it's because the Rockies have kind of been always bad since I've, been paying attention to the sports world. But when you have a team that won the Stanley Cup, you have a team that won the NBA Finals, you have a team that won the Super Bowl. I know it's 10 years ago now, but like, you have to compete in some way. Otherwise, who's going to pay attention to the Rockies? And they're so frustrating.
And then even some of our smaller sports leagues, like the Rapids, have been making deep playoff runs, a couple of championship.
Yeah.
Even the Mammoth, like, it's
a good sports town. There was a time where I left the radio station back in November of last year, and I was like, where do I want to go? Like, what do I want to do? And I was like, I don't want to leave Denver right now because it's just such a good sports town. Like, how many people would kill to be in this town to cover teams? And I was just like, you know what, we're just gonna stay. There may be another job out there, but we're just gonna stay and stick it out for a little bit.
Awesome. Love that. Well, I've got 2 more questions for you here.
Yeah,
Rachel. First, just in your opinion, how are the team's spirits after starting 1 and 2? Like, what's the vibe you're getting from guys around the locker room?
Yeah, so I will be very curious. So Wednesday is like our big locker room day. So we'll sit down, or not sit down. We'll go into the locker room and see how the vibes are. But if I know Sean Payton, one thing he is very big on is, like, you have your one play and then you got to move on to the next. So I'm sure it's the same exact way for the games. Like, okay, we weren't able to get it done, but now we have to. And I think that they do flip it around a little bit, right? Whereas the fans were like, oh my gosh, you lost. Like, it was a close game and you lost it. I think in that locker room and in that building, sometimes they're like, look at how close we could be to possibly being 3-0. So, like, we're a good team. We just have to keep chasing that and fixing those mistakes. So I think it'll be probably really good. I think they'll be excited about the opportunity for primetime on Monday night. But yeah, I wouldn't say there's any, it's no sad sad locker rooms yet. We've seen some of those in previous years, after the playoff loss and everything like that. There are some sad locker rooms, but usually this early on, there's enough of the season to go that these guys are still pretty motivated to continue.
Awesome. Good to hear that. And then we were talking a little bit about the team's lack of identity. What would you say would be the best type of identity that they could establish for themselves as somebody that's close to the team? What do you think they could do to establish a winning type of identity?
First of all, I love that question. Who could they be, right? Well, it's hard when you look at Sean Payton because he's just such a pass-happy, quarterback-happy coach. So I'd love to say that they've got that. Unfortunately, I just don't think Bo is there. If they could be a team that could do 60-40, 60% of the time they're going to pass the ball, 40% of the time they're going to run, I think they could be really successful. But unfortunately, Sean Payton just doesn't like to run the ball. And honestly, come down to the fourth quarter. I feel like we just don't see them have success running the ball at all. If you look at this last game, they had 0 rushing yards in the first half. 0. In the third quarter, J.K. Dobbins finally got going against his former team, which was fantastic to see and really pay attention to. But then they just stopped going to the run. And I was like, why? You're having success with it. I don't understand why all of a sudden you're just stopping. So I don't know. It's a really hard question. If they could go 60-40, like I said, I think that they could have a really good identity. But honestly, I feel like it's always going to be an 80-20 when it comes to Sean Payton. And I just don't think you could win that way.
It's unfortunate. I love Sean Payton as a coach, but sometimes he won't get out of his own way. I agree with you. The 60-40 would be great. And with the strength of this defense, try to play this ball control type of offense.
You can lean on.
Yeah, we saw a lot of successful teams last year. Even like the Chiefs didn't have a super good run game last year, but what they did is the quick passing. We could incorporate something like that and just hold the ball for a long time, and just give other offenses less opportunities. They're going to get less chances to get past this great defense would be something special. So hopefully Sean Payton's willing to break his mold a little bit. Will we see a true 60-40? I don't know, but
maybe 70-30. We'll try and meet in the middle, right? That could be nice.
Not bad.
We can make that.
We'll take it. They always talk about Bo being the check down queen or king or whatever. And I'm like, okay, but Bo does have an arm. Let's give him a little bit more credit. But also, I'm here. If it's going to just take them throwing 4 or 5 yards at a time and just continuously move down the field and eat up the clock, I'm totally here for it if that's what needs to happen.
All right. Well, we've reached the end of our interview segments. We've got one more segment for you, Rachel. It's your time to shine.
It's time to shine, baby. It's time to shine.
So, with our final segment, we said that at the same time there. That was pretty cool, actually. But this is just your time to shine. Anything that we did not ask you, if there's anything that you'd like to say, one last time to shine right here. Here you go.
Dang. That's such a great question. I'm trying to think. Being in the sports industry is just so different than I feel like a lot of people know and recognize. And I try to tell people that all the time. We talked about, the money situation when it comes to working in sports. You have to work a really long time to be able to afford the lifestyle. And when you're surrounded by people that are making millions and millions of dollars, it's definitely very unique. But also it is literally the best job in the world. I could not recommend it more. I do not feel like I work a day in my life. And I'm telling you that honestly, there are so many good people in the industry. It's just honestly so much fun. And I hope that people get to experience that or at least feel that through my content that I provide. That's really important for me. And so you guys, just thank you for the opportunity to come on here and talk some ball, and quite the pleasure. So thank you, honestly.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
We really appreciate it.
And before we have you we send you off, go ahead and plug your socials for everybody watching so they know where to find you.
Yeah, so just at Hey Rachel Vigil on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. You can even find me too. So mostly active on TikTok. That's kind of my main platform. And then Twitter for sure. That's where a lot of the news and really Broncos heavy content drops are.
All right. Awesome. Well, Rachel, again, thank you so much for coming on with you today and giving us a little insight into the Broncos. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. If anybody has any other questions too, feel free to DM me, email me, whatever else it'll be. I'm happy to help.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right.
Man, what an interview.
Incredible.
That was one heck of an interview. It's been a while since we had one.
All right, I think it was but Mr. Bo Leave last time we had.
Yeah.
The guy that made that song.
Joe. It was Joe.
Yeah. Wow.
But that's awesome.
I loved a lot of her insight and just into the team and her approach to the journalism side. And I think we just learned a lot. I mean, I feel like I've come away with a better understanding of my team. And like, I think of myself as a super fan. Like I follow them pretty closely. But yeah, like somebody that's got their ear to the locker room like that is,
It's nice to hear things like that about your team. Just teams in general. It's always really fun.
And like I just want to hammer home that point of the identity and cleaning up the sloppiness. Like, I mean, this is a team that's, they're right there of being 3-0. They really could be. I would love, like, I don't know, man. Like, Sean, can we throw the ball a little less, try to run it,
just a little less. That's what they got to do, really.
At least run it a little more on first down, because I think he throws it a lot on first down, and then we have like those plays don't go anywhere, and then we're getting behind the sticks too early, and I'm not a big fan of that. And yeah, just like it you don't even necessarily have to score a lot of points, but if you just hold the ball for like 3-4 minutes at a time each drive, I mean, just give other teams a lot less opportunities to be out there. They're going to start winning a lot more games. But Caveman, we didn't quite get to all of our games. We got about 3 left, a couple of primetime games, and then a battle for first place in the NFC West. Shall we head on out?
Niners, Cardinals. Let's start there, man, because this was honestly a pretty good game.
Very defensive. Took off in the fourth quarter, and look, I'm telling, like, the Cardinals were a very fraudulent 2-0. This is not a good team. James Conner, hate to see that, man. That was a gruesome injury. Trey Benson's going to be taking the reins there. The offensive line doesn't really move a lot of people up front. It's hard for them to establish the run. Marvin Harrison Jr. is just continuing to struggle to break out. We've seen him with that big game against the Rams, and he's had a couple of other nice performances. Really bad drop when he was wide open in this one. And I mean, even Trey McBride, like, there's like no one on this offense that they can really lean on when things aren't going well, And I mean, like, I think they're actually pretty sound defensively on the other side of the ball. Like
Josh Sweat, Calais Campbell having a good year so far.
Right.
Still got Budda Baker there.
Mac Wilson was making plays all over the field. Keem Davis Gaither, I think he's a highly underrated player. Also, I'm a big fan of Zaven Collins. I think he's really good off-ball linebacker there. And yeah, like, I mean, San Fran is just, without your starting quarterback, you're down like, I mean, Ricky Pearsall's now your number one receiver. You're out Ayuk, you're out Juwan Jennings, you're out George Kittle.
Yep.
You're out Brock Purdy. Nick Bosa did unfortunately go down in this game, so they're going to probably lose.
He tore his ACL. He's out for the season.
They're going to lose a big edge on the on your defensive line. Like Bryce Huff, you had that really good season. Can we see you step up and fill that role? I doubt it, but I mean, big win to survive here. Get that 3-0. Who are their next 2 games? Because, like, what do you think? Like, Brock is probably coming back around the week what, 6, 7?
I think around 6, around week 6.
which would be
At Tampa.
At Tampa. Maybe you get them back at home against the Falcons. Division game against the Rams without your certain QB and all the injuries could be tough. Jaguars are a very beatable team.
Oh, yeah.
Those 49ers team. You get Brock back at Tampa is definitely tough, but then, I mean, Falcons are looking very beatable. Texans are struggling mightily. At the Giants, who knows who they'll be playing at that stretch. So, I mean, really, you still got a good chance to go to 4-0 and potentially get Brock back with only 1-2 losses on the season.
Yeah.
And firm with a firm shot at first place there. I mean, right now, like, be interesting to see, like, Christian McCaffrey shouldering a big load, 17 carries. He also caught 10 balls. Hope like that, they're working him to the bone, but he's holding up so far. And yeah, they got rid of Jake Moody, bringing in Eddie Pinheiro. Probably the reason
for the
he made
better
that field goal. And they got the win on the game.
For the better.
Yeah.
It looks like from week 3 on, expected to miss 2 to 5 weeks for Brock Purdy. So he could be back as soon as week 5, but anywhere from week 5 to 7.
It's going to be tougher to win games without Nick Bosa. They're going to need to find somebody to be a disruptor.
Yeah, because that pass rush is living and dying through him.
Right. And it's like he didn't even necessarily get any sacks in this game, but like, it's just
pressure.
All the pressure.
And just having to worry about him in general.
And it really made Purdy Kyler Murray uncomfortable back there. I don't know if I got anything else to say on the Cardinals. Like, I just really, this is a team
that you don't really have to watch out for, but they do have like good record in 3 weeks.
Right.
Moving on.
I want to see who they got. Like, I don't know if like maybe it's some more easy games.
Because Seattle, I feel like Seattle puts the same beats on Arizona like they did to the Saints. Because the Saints almost beat the Cardinals.
I mean, like, I could see the Titans maybe upsetting them. I mean, the Colts should beat them. Packers should beat them. Against the Cowboys, that could be anybody's game. Right. Like, I mean, I think we'll start to see Arizona go downhill. And then the later part of the schedule doesn't get too much easier either. So, they seem pretty primed to start 2-0, and then they're going to be finding their way to losing record 5-12 rather.
Yeah,
call it.
It just seems super fraudulent. Like this, they look like a team that 5 win could be competing for the number 1 overall pick in the draft.
That could be, yeah.
It really could be. Like 2-1 right now, and they definitely could be in running for a number 1 overall pick.
The Jonathan Gannon experiment, do we think that's working? How much longer is that going to be going on? And then, I mean, Kyler Murray, like, how certain are you that he's your quarterback of the future? They kind of seem, they're very in no man's land, where it's like good enough to be competitive and win enough game, win some games on the season to mess up their draft pick, but not really good enough to take that next step.
I feel like if Kyler Murray does not end up off the team, I feel like definitely major restructuring in that deal going into the next season, because man, they're gonna have to make some money to get some people on this team. If they're gonna just have to help a lot of different assets, and a lot of it could be on coaching and play calling. That's not really helping out their offense too much.
Yeah,
but they have the guys to be a pretty solid team.
They really do. Like, there's a lot, like, on paper, a lot of talent, but it's.
I know. I don't really see it.
The paper isn't the law of the land. All right, Sunday Night Football. Snooze fest.
Russell, man, what the heck are you doing,
bros? Dude, that had to be that. like first and goal to go like series where they turned it over on downs had to be maybe had to be like the worst, at least this season, the worst sequence I've seen.
The worst 4 plays in football from any team.
And like in recent memory, that's got to be one of the worst 4 plays I see. Like, oh my god! Like we have what 3 overthrows and just a quarterback draw into nothing.
Into nobody, yeah.
Yeah, which just proves how fraudulent the Cowboys defense is. Hey, Mahomes was not the leading rusher in this game for the Chiefs. Honestly, the only fun part about this game was watching Cam Scatterby just
have
throw his body into people.
Going crazy.
Did 16 touches, 121 yards, and a touchdown for Mr. Scatterby.
Yeah, maybe Jimmy was right about that trade, or I should have traded for Scatterby.
Dude, Tyrone Tracy, bro, you lost your job already. Hollywood Brown, I got a beef with you, dog. I should have picked up Tyquan Thornton instead of you, man.
Yeah, man. Thornton's
getting all the action, dude. And Travis Kelce, again, not really looking very good. Game the Chiefs should have won. They did it in incredibly boring fashion. Mahomes still looked pretty bad. I mean, missing some open throws. Pacheco was
this wasn't a clean game.
Running backwards when Mahomes threw him a backwards pass. Good heads up play to go and grab it out of Bobby Okereke's hands. But like Chris Collinsworth is acting like that was the great. Like you can give him props
Best play in
for
football.
not giving up on the play, but he's like, oh my god, this is such an incredible cerebral play of Patrick Mahomes. Like, no, he knew he fumbled the ball like everybody did.
Yeah,
he's a competitor. Like he went and made an effort to get on the play. So it ain't the greatest thing since sliced bread, Chris. Let's calm down. That NBC, you got to get that guy.
He's a good commentator aside from just loving the Chiefs, and like whenever he goes to hype somebody up, anytime he goes to give somebody their flowers, it has to be brought. Dude, it's just I don't know.
I feel like he is less and less breaking down the play, like the game on like an analytical level, and like breaking down like a play and like what's going on. Like and more and more so often he's just like, oh, this guy, he's a lot of fun to watch. Really like him. Like,
yeah.
Like, okay, like that's great, but like, could you?
What does he do that makes him fun to watch?
Yeah, like tell us like why he's so good. Like you look at like a guy like Greg Olsen, and he like who's just absolutely killing it. Who's Kevin Harlan's partner with CBS? Is it Trent Green?
Yeah,
it's Trent Green. Like those guys. Like fantastic, they feed off the energy of their partner in the booth, and then also like when they're breaking down a play. I mean, oh my god, you can just hear like you just love to like watch those brains dissect the play, man. And it's like Collinsworth doesn't really do that. Even when he does like break down a play, it's not like it's
not the same.
It doesn't.
He used to be honest. He used to be pretty good.
Yeah,
he used to be
like he used to be one of the best in the game, but like he's got like tenure or something, man. Feels like he's just gotten lazy,
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate because like Mike Tirico, I think, is one of the best play-by-play guys we got out there. Like
that's why, you're doing a disservice to Mike Tirico, man.
Like I like Mike Tirico in terms of football play-by-play, man. I think I only got Kevin Harlan ahead of him, man. And like that they're like and it's basically a tie. Like it's neck and neck. And honestly, I might give it to Tirico because his thing is like he is like the football guy. Like Kevin Harlan's.
That's what basketball. Yeah, he's just strictly football.
That's great. Like you give me Mike Tirico and Greg Olsen.
Oh, dude,
peak.
Greg Olsen's analysis, man. We need to get him back.
He's
Brady's insane.
Brady's okay, but like Greg Olsen was leaps and bounds.
Oh yeah,
ahead
way
of
better
as a color commentator.
Way better.
Let us know your thoughts on this.
It's nothing against Brady. I agree. He's really
I don't
not
think
that
Brady's
bad.
really that bad. It's just like Greg Olson was, meant for the broadcast booth.
They just want to play into the Tom Brady thing with like the LFG player of the game. Like they just want to play into Brady and make money off of that. Is what it seems.
And Brady's, they don't even care about how big of a conflict of interest he is. He got he is on the team for the Chicago Bears Cowboys game. The Bears play the Raiders next week. Like, you're getting all this extra insight from coaches and shit that you can pass back on to your organization that plays them next week. What? Maybe he's not doing it, but like it's Tom Brady. Like, would he put cheating past him? Like I sure.
That's what we'll find out as next roast.
Our next thing, last game of the day. We got 4 minutes to break down. A shootout on Monday Night Football.
A Derrick Henry fumble is really what this game came down to.
Derrick Henry, I thought was week 1. I'm like, oh, dude, he's great start to the season fantasy wise. Like, it's going to be another solid year. I'm so scared now, Kevin, after these past 2 weeks. Like, this game, he had at least a touchdown, but it's not great. And
like week two is scary for owners of Derrick Henry.
This game did little to alleviate that.
That's back-to-back weeks, though, where they have a chance to win, and it's just a huge, costly fumble like that.
Yeah, I mean, the fumble again. Yeah.
Neither defense is stopping each other this one. Like, they're probably driving down to score. But that one was heck of a play by Hutchinson to, like, Superman peanut punch that. His body was, like, fully extended, reaching out. Like, that would have been a positive run.
You can just tell how happy they are to have him back, dude. 7 sacks for this team. And Al-Quadina Muhammad is, rising star in the pass rushing game. He was really great at the end of the last season. That Sunday night game against the Vikings, he was all over the field. And again, he 2.5 sacks in this game. And Goff was when they didn't really rely on him to throw it that much because Gibbs and Montgomery combined for 218 and 4 touchdowns. But like when they needed Goff to throw, he was pinpoint. He made the big throws in the big moments. Detroit, not a whole lot to worry with here. Baltimore, this is the second game this season where you're a costly fumble and then your defense looks just absolutely helpless out there against a good offense.
It's Lamar doing it all, man. You can't even blame it on him. He took
again like another near perfect game, like 21 of 27, 288, 3 touchdowns, 35 yards on the ground. He was 148.1 pass rating. He was 0.2 off from a perfect rating.
Yeah.
He's like, maybe he took he made a few sacks worse than they should have been because he didn't throw the ball away, or that fumble that he had on 4th down where he didn't, trying to make something happen. But you're okay with Lamar taking those risky plays because then on the flip side, he does something incredible where he switches hands twice, throws a 1st down on 4th down.
Look at that. Shout out Sabrina. He's playing mind games. He's pulling a Sean Payton.
It's just an act. All right. I hope you're right because I'm panicking about Henry, but I'm sure they'll be all good. Yeah, Detroit imposing their will on the run game, and the defense is playing a lot better than it played last year.
Yeah.
They'll be back to making some noise. No need to panic about the Lions. Baltimore, I think, is ultimately going to be fine, but it's 1 and 2 is not the way you're hoping to start the season. Losses to 2 high quality teams.
Yeah, it's tough losses too, where it's down to the last possession pretty much.
But we've reached the end of our show. that's going to do it for episode 2 of Till the Final Whistles Football Frenzy. Thanks for joining us today. Again, another huge thank you to Rachel Vigil for doing that interview with us. We'll be back tomorrow for a normal edition of Till the Final Whistle, and we'll be back next Tuesday for another edition of Football Frenzy. Until then, we'll see you folks later on NBR.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.